Well, hello there. What a wonderful weekend it is to be alive on planet Earth. Why? Because it's the Cheltenham opening meeting here on Racing Post Live. Myself, Dave Orton, back in the chair. Delighted to be with you here Friday, Saturday and Sunday as well, in conjunction with the Betfair Exchange. Thrills and not too many spills, hopefully, along the way. It's going to be fantastic stuff. Let us know you're out there. If you're watching on YouTube, like the stream, subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook Live, hola, good to see you. Let's get involved. We're going to be trading away on the exchange. We've got social media comments coming in. We'll give you a shout out all the way. I'll tell you what, it's going to be good fun today. It could be a little bit lively. Let's go down the panel, shall we? Who have we got for you in the studio? Making his Racing Post Live debut. Hold on to your hats. Mattie Batch joins us. Mattie, great to have you on.
Yeah, pleasure to be on. Yeah, good.
Happy days. You're still riding, of course, aren't you?
I'm trying.
You are?
I'm very trying.
Yeah, I mean, you're not short of a story or two. More than you've had winners, I imagine. You've got stories, haven't you? I think.
More stories than winners. But yeah, I still love it and still enjoy doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, you're going to be coming in from a riding angle, giving us stories. We've got a few small fields today. We've got the cross country coming up. Did you ever ride on the cross country, Chase?
Yeah, I had half a ride round there.
And retired nice and clean.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just concentrate on that side. Some of the bigger jocks just don't want to do it, do they? It can be egg on face around there, can't it?
It can a little bit, and they've got sort of good rides coming up throughout the weekend. So is it worth the risk for some of them? Not really. So they sort of swerve it a bit.
That's about as politically correct as you're going to be on the show. I think. We've got Tiger Roll, of course, meets Easysland. What a race, and a Welsh National winner in there. Potter's Corner, that's the third race. We're doing all the terrestrial TV races for you. We've also got betting editor from the Racing Post, Keith Melrose, joins us.
Hello, Dave. How you doing?
You're doing a double header. You're back for tomorrow as well. Have we put you up somewhere glamorous?
No, well, what I did is I booked a hotel when I was in Tier 3 in Yorkshire and it was Tier 2 in London. I thought, a couple of pints, nicely does it. Lockdown. So now I'm going to be sitting on my own.
Not sure why you're whispering, Keith. I mean, there's half the country out there.
He can have a chair when he's finished. You have to put it across.
As long as half the country doesn't include my wife, that's all right.
Well, I'm sure she's probably not watching this. Happy days. Great to have you back. You got some angles for us today?
Yeah, I mean, this is the biggest meeting, one of the biggest meetings outside of the big spring festivals all year. Absolutely love it. Tomorrow's going to be, obviously, Saturday is the big day to build up to. Yeah. But this day tends to tell you absolutely loads. And this 2 mile chase we're starting with is, it's an absolute smasher, isn't it?
Your favourite race of the day, I think, isn't it? You did all the previews in the members section in the papers today, so you're the man to show us all the RPRs and what's going to win, what's coming out of it.
Well, yeah, I can try. So, but no, I mean, this the best races aren't always the best betting races, are they? I mean, you're going to learn so much from this 2 mile race. I know what I'm backing, and I'm sure Mattie knows what he fancies, and you'll know what you fancy. But it really is a race that you'll be wanting to watch, this one.
Yeah, okay. And joining us from all the way from Dublin, Betfair's big hitter, he's back. It's Barry Orr.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we all?
We're absolutely flying. We've been having a bit of banter, haven't we, Barry, off the camera, and we're on the show. It's going to be a bit lively today. Have you got your trades in place for us?
I certainly have, yeah. There's plenty going on the Betfair Exchange, and Kate's right. This opening race that we're going to cover is an absolute dynamite betting heat. Currently 7-2 to field. A whole host of horses in there that have chances. Really looking forward to getting stuck into today's card. I think there's value on it as well. So plenty of horses looking to lay short in the win and place markets this afternoon.
Great to have you back, Barry. And we always like to choose a charity at the top of the show. Mattie Batch was in. We asked him. Injured Jockeys Fund is where we're going to play. You're going to be trading throughout the weekend. You're in Friday and Sunday, aren't you, Barry? So top and tail in the car, but we're going to go for the IGF.
Yeah, good to hear. Yeah, great charity. Really worthy charity as well. I think we got a few quid for race and welfare so far. I remember sending off a check to them quite recently. So, yeah, fingers crossed for the IJF. Hopefully none of the boys need it, but it'd be nice to have it in the bank anyway. Yeah,
as you made reference to, you might have been in for a few of them yourself over the years.
Over the years, yeah. So it's a great cause, and it definitely does help when you're sitting indoors.
Oaksey House, etc. You spent a bit of time down there?
I haven't, no.
You?
Living down the south coast, and not riding as much, I don't know. So
you're a Brighton lad, aren't you?
Brighton born and bred,
Brighton supporter as well.
Yeah, season ticket holder.
Bruce Millington's not in, isn't he? Yeah. Crystal Palace fan.
Oh.
Could have got lively in here. A made-up rivalry, as Rob Lee in the gallery said earlier. He's in Millwall, though, so you've got to be careful about that.
Yeah, we don't mess with the Millwall.
You're not doing too badly at all, are you?
No, got Welbeck, new signing.
Yeah, from my boys, Watford.
Yes.
Yeah. He did us loads of good last
We
year.
give you Glenn Murray, though.
Yeah. He's not in a hurry, Ben Murray, is he? No, he's certainly not. Anyway, we digress, but we know you love us to digress out there. Honestly, we're getting loads of stories from Batchelor. We give us all the riding angles. Keith will be coming from RPR, and you're going to learn about the Betfair Exchange. If you're a novice or a beginner, don't worry. Barry will be talking it through from you. Loads of different angles to play. That's what we're going to do, just basically having fun. Get your social comments in. #RP Live. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook Live as well. Should we have a look at the first race then, chaps? Because as Keith mentions, it's an absolute belter. This is just such a good day, and countryside day it is if you go and join it there. I've got the old green on in solace that we're not there for this. It is a great meeting. Barry, I'll come to you. We'll have a look at the market. Last time I saw you on a racetrack, Barry, I can remember it anyway. We've seen each other since, obviously. It was this meeting in 2018. Do you remember last year? It wasn't even on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, unfortunately not. No, it's a fantastic meeting for sure. Yeah, and a lot of Irish go over to it. Obviously, everyone's missing it this year, but the Irish do travel to it, and it's a lot of people who don't go to the festival. This is their festival, and it's such good quality racing. But at the moment, on the slopes, your favourite on the Betfair Exchange, just ahead of Magic Saint, 4.7 and 4.9 respectively. Beat the Judges, the money horse in the race for Gary Moore. Has been as big as a 7-1 chance on the Exchange, is into 5.7 now. So he's come in significantly, and he's probably the best supported horse in the race. Stayed on well last day behind a couple of these. One in on the slopes, but he's what I like in it. On the slopes is what I'm fancying. Just over Magic Saint in it. Paul Nichols makes a good point in his column on Betfair that Magic Saint ran last year over 2.5 miles and won on his second run following his reappearance. He's ran into Monet's Garden. Travelled well, as he does all the time. He travels well, the horse, but just didn't get home. Probably blew up, needed to run. Expect him to come on significantly for it, but I think off top weight, he might just struggle today. And I think if he does on the slopes for Chris Gordon and Dickie Johnson, will make the best of their way home. Doesn't have to lead. Couldn't lead them last day, Rouge Beat and the other horse, but he could get to the front today and might just stay there on the slopes. And if Keith's ready there, I'd just like to kick off with a nice simple win bet on him and take the price of 4.7. So we're a price taker here. We could be a price maker and look to back him at 4.8 or 4.9, and it will go into the late column. But I think in this instance, because Mattie's a bit of a newbie to the Exchange, we're just going to show him nice and simple. We're going to have 50 quid at 4.7 on the slopes.
There we go. And that's confirmed. And there we are, we're on.
Thank you, Mr. Melrose. Happy
days.
So, happy days indeed, Barry. So, on the slopes, you said that, we were talking off air when I asked you which your plays were, you were between this and Magic Saint. You've come down simply because you think he's going to come on for the run then, Barry. Might just get the run of it and take the catching up.
Yeah, I think they'll both come on for the run. And Magic Saint, obviously, don't forget he went off 9-2 favourite in the Grand Annual in 2019. They've always taught a lot of him. Paul Nichols has always taught a lot of him. Paul took him a while to acclimatise after coming over from France. But in my opinion, he's let them down once too many now. And he's just one that I'm willing, off top weight here, I'm willing to take a chance. And I think on the slopes could be the main beneficiary of. Magic Saint, I expected to travel well and to trade short in running. That was one of the angles I was looking at here of potentially laying Magic Saint in running, because I don't think he always finds as much as he looks to be as well as he looks to be going. But I've just opted for the flat out straight win on the slopes.
Yeah, you get the feeling that he's the in running punter's key horse here, Keith, don't you? He's going to go short at some point. I like him in this. I watched back his sixth, it was. I had to look that in the corner of my eye, that was actually a sixth at Aintree on his return. If you stop it 2 out, he's absolutely cantering, isn't it? I was speaking to Paul Keeley this morning. He was in the office floating around somewhere. And he said he hates Cheltenham. He said, just can't stand Cheltenham. And if you look at the race he's running, it was on trials day. Probably wasn't totally right. That was over 2-4. And in the Paddy Power last year as well. I don't think he's only had one chance over the 2 miles here. I like him with Brian Carver taking off 5. Who are you with?
As I've said to you, it's a race that it's not a race to go daft in punting wise because it's so competitive. There is one horse in here who I think could just be a bit special and a bit of a monster. And we've not mentioned him yet. It's Fanion D'Estraval. Now, he won, him and Magic Saint both won at the Ladbrokes Trophy meeting. It's not the Hennessy meeting anymore, not anymore, Mattie, I do.
Memories.
And they both won at that meeting last year, but Fanion D'Estraval was massively, massively impressive. And he beat Sully Doka, who's won at Ascot last week,
yes,
and beat him on his ear. He looked like the Arkle winner that day, just about. And then the next day, he turned up in the Wayward Lads, and he took half of Kempton with him.
Yeah.
He wore every fence and still only got beat 5 lengths. He's not run since. If there's a horse in this race that could just be that bit better, I think it's him. So he's the horse that I'd hate to see win unbacked from me. So that's what I've done, basically. But it's not a race where I'm thinking that is definitely a wrong price and I'm getting tucked in. It's just a horse I really like who could be a lot better than this one here. The Magic Saint angle is really interesting, though, because Barry's saying, obviously, and presumably Paul Nicholls is of the sort of similar view, that 2.5 miles fine. He's just a horse that travels and doesn't pick up so much for pressure. I think he's a 2-miler. I don't know about you guys. He looks, and that's why the Cheltenham angle will be interesting, because this will tell you whether it's 2 miles or whether it's bridle horse. And I think that should tell us today.
I think this is a bit harsh, because when he won at Newbury, as you mentioned, the aforementioned, he beat Bundoran, who won this race, when it was last run, in 2018. He had to battle that day.
He had to out-battle Bundoran.
Oh, come on, that's harsh.
Barry
pipes up there, isn't he?
The only thing I say, he does get a little bit low for me. Newbury, you would get away with it round there.
Okay.
You're not going to get away with that round here.
See, that's interesting to hear, because I think Newbury's fences are like the most big and scary I see on the television. Are Cheltenham stiffer than Newbury's?
I believe Cheltenham is stiffer than Newbury's.
Okay.
I think you'd get away with more around Newbury.
Are they the stiffest in the country?
It'd be some of the stiffest.
It's the premier jumps track, isn't it?
They're very well presented. They're well built. I mean, Wincanton used to be the stiffest of the stiffest. But
What's
they've
the
all changed
scariest now then?
It's got to be Leicester, just for the way they're all downhill. they're hard fences. It's just It's not the stiffest. It's just where they're put. Like Newbury's a fair track, flat track. You've got the cross fence down the hill.
Yeah.
But at Cheltenham, you've got fences that catch you out. And I just, for me, he just gets a little bit too low. If you take a few of them home with you, you're not going to finish.
Well, that's the worry for Fagnon D'Estraval as well. He's only an unexposed chaser, but he has belted a couple. I think he did at Newbury as well, actually. But, you know, a horse that's in his second season of offences, you hope he can improve on it. And normally, as a 2-miler, you want a horse that jumps nice and slickly, don't you?
Yeah.
But that's the pro telling us.
And it's like on the slopes. I mean, listen, Chris Gordon's trying. I think he needs 2.5. For me, he looks like he needs 2.5.
Yeah.
I mean, his form, he was behind Simply Beats.
Simply
Imperial
the Bets,
Aura went to Cheltenham and won. The 4th horse behind that, the Sophie Leach horse, the French horse, that's been going and collecting loads of euros in France and winning over there. It's good form. I do like
best form of the season.
Yeah, I do like Beat the Judge.
The novice handicap, the ex-novice handicap. Of course, we're not. It's now gone, isn't it, from the calendar?
Oh, no. It's the on trials day.
Oh, okay.
Sponsored by a certain rival.
Yes, indeed. So you're talking about Garrow de Julie, Champagne Court, Sully Dock, or whatever, the Honeyball horse that came out. Courtmaster was in there, Jarvis Plate.
It's the best form of the season. What happened that day as well was because at the top of the hill, on the slopes, made a massive move down the hill, cut his own throat, really, and got done. It was a speed test, and that's why on the day, Imperial Aura looked a little bit slow, and I said to Keels, who'd been all over him for the 2-mile 4 race at Cheltenham, he's too slow. He wants 3 miles, Keels. Then I looked at this. I looked back at the time, the speed they finished that race, and thought, well, actually, he's shown plenty of speed there. Come to think of it, I didn't realise he'd finished as fast as he had. It was only on inspecting that I thought, oh, actually, this could be really good. And on the slopes, I do see that. I think it's 2-mile 2 is big form at Kempton. Since he might be one of those horses. He's got plenty of speed, but it might not be a 2-miler. It's one of those funny horses.
Yeah, that's it. And I think he's just that little bit extra is better for him. I do like Beat the Judge. He made a little mistake at a crucial stage down the back last time and ran on and finished 3rd. I know a few people at the yard, they said he's really well, and I think they're really open for a big run and say there's a bit of money for him as well.
Still only a 5-year-old, isn't he, Beat Judge? He's obviously a versatile horse, isn't he?
And more
They're going
improvement
out
to
now,
come.
Matty. So if you're going out and you're going down now, do you know roughly where the other jocks want to be? And we're expecting these 2-mile races around and they don't dawdle.
Sort of, but I was saying there's only one horse in the race that tends to go from the front. It doesn't have to on the slopes, but he tends to. And will they know by... Well, because I'm sitting here thinking, well, I think Dickie might fancy going on with this. Will they know by now?
Oh, they know by now, yeah. They're all done. They'll be talking in the weighing room and saying, what are you doing? Looking at the form and the paper, and they're going to say, look, we think this on the slopes is more than likely it's going to go on.
Reading the members club thinking, what's Keith Melrose about?
Dickie, Keith
And now you find yourself sitting next to him. Absolutely fantastic. Only
What a
him.
lovely bloke that keeper.
He knows what he's on about.
He knows what he's
Absolutely.
talking about.
Quite right. Okay, so listen, you don't get any analysis like this leading into a race wherever you're watching it. We know you're in lockdown. We're going to lift your spirits. It's Cheltenham opening meeting and we're just about to have our first race. Okay, let's have a little look before the 150. We've got a social coming in. Who is it? Okay, Matt McKenna starts the show. Let's be having these winners, lads. Absolutely. Got some more coming in. Good to have you, Matt, along. Hugh Masson says, good afternoon. I'm very keen on Fanny and D'Estrevale with Keith for the next, but I'm not sure if he'll love the ground being good to soft. What do you think on the ground?
He's not had enough runs in Britain for me to tell, and I'm not a massive... You don't want to ask me about ground. I'm not a massive ground punter.
Oh, don't get Keith started when it comes to preferences in ground. He doesn't think it matters that much. What else? What other socials have we got? Let's get them on. We're warming up now. Andy Sim, a regular contributor. Beat the Judge looks good at 4-1. Is that your pick, Matty?
Yeah, that's
Beat the
my
Judge.
pick, yeah.
Happy days. All right, so you're with Matty, basically. And when debutantes come on this show, they tend to get a bit of beginner's luck, let's put it that way. He's an old pro, but and we'll be... you have one...
Less of the old, please.
Well, I don't know. Listen, I'm probably might be statesman. I mean, we've got Barry Orr, of course, over in Dublin. He's been around for donkey's years. But you have won races on this card, of course. Come on, let's get it out of the way.
Come on, yeah.
Come on.
You won the Ballymore, didn't you?
The Ballymore,
He's
yeah.
getting
Some
the
old
speech out his
jack,
back
what was
pocket.
On some old, it never went on after that. Once I got dropped off it never done anything, to be fair.
It was, of course, Coney Gree.
Coney
for
Gree, yeah.
the Bradstocks, who you had such a great association with.
Yeah, I rode for a good 11 years, gave me the best times in my riding career. Very grateful for that.
Carruthers.
Carruthers,
They had that family, didn't they?
Yeah,
They kept him going in point to point, so he was like 20, didn't they? It was unbelievable.
I know, yeah. I think you should have... I asked to have him, actually, to turn him out in the field near
It's
home.
Sarah that likes to keep them going. Mum's wife, of course.
Yeah, the daughter... I think the daughter won a point on him.
Yeah.
He was just a great servant.
Everyone loved Carruthers,
Yeah.
because it was you knew that they were going to wear the colours on the on the sleeve.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You knew what you had everything in your favour in most of the races. He tried his heart out, didn't he?
He had the biggest heart of any horse I've ridden. Coney Gree, it all came very easy for him, and he just that little bit class above, but for tenacity and the biggest heart, Carruthers was absolutely unbelievable.
We could go on about this with Matty for quite a while. Lucky he's here for the rest of the show.
Interesting of Carruthers, because I was at the other side. I was one of those very hard-nosed punters looking at Carruthers, and he was such a story horse that people always thought he could be better than he actually was. And he was obviously a cracking horse. He won a Hennessy, but everybody always thought, because there was almost a will to make him into a Gold Cup horse, and he was never quite, as you say, he never had quite a Coney Gree's class, and it was very much sitting from the other side. But even then, when he won the Hennessy, you couldn't help but smile at just a horse like him, an old school type chaser, and just give it everything. It was great to watch.
I mean, he got placed. We only just got touched off in the Betfair Bowl at Aintree for What a Friend.
Yeah.
And I mean, he finished fourth.
You got out battled by What a Friend.
Yeah. I think I got a bit carried away at the last. probably Jockey.
Never, mate.
After 10 years, I'm going to say it might have been Jockey era. But no, I mean, he finished fourth in the Gold Cup.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? But what year was that again? I forget.
That was when Imperial Commander won.
Was it really? 2010?
2010. I've come up the running. I'm thinking, I'm going to be third in the Gold Cup. I've come down the hill. McCoy had cut me up. I've called him every now and then in the sun. I'm coming down. There's one in front of me. I thought, I'm going to get third. Mon Moan coming down the line.
And that's the winner.
That's the winner, yeah.
Listen, we're going to get all these memories from Matty. Get your questions in for Matty. What do you want to know? Cheltenham anti-post. Let's have it all. Social comments coming in. But the flag is up. And I shall assume a role of commentator in the first race. We'll be spreading it about. We'll be chatting amongst the team, but they're going to the first. And as might have been expected, Dickie Johnson on the slopes. Pop up the first. Up they go. All pretty much over. Okay, Eamon just shock out the back. Maybe just had a little look at it. So the order as we go through, as expected on the slopes, setting a fair old tempo.
Azerty was the other one that might have led, because he can be a bit nuts, basically. He can be quite keen. And I think he's tried to restrain him there while Dickie's been allowed to, as agreed in the weighing room, apparently.
As agreed in the weighing room.
You've got a rank
I'm the
outsider.
senior jockey.
Yeah, exactly. Pulled rank. Dickie's
pulled rank. I'm going to make it.
Well, he's certainly making it, and he's making a decent fist of it as well. Barry, has the market reacted in any shape or form after the first couple of fences, or is it as you were?
Yeah, no, after jumping that on the slopes into 5-2 now, 3.50. Magic Saint still trading around 4.8, and Beat the Judge 6.4. It's just drifted ever so slightly, yeah, but The favourite just shortened significantly after jumping the first two.
Paul Keeley will be absolutely livid because Eamon the Shock, his paper tip, hasn't had a cut of the fences at all, and he's going to have to be absolute Pegasus to win from out the back.
He's gone 40 on the machine.
Magic Saint's in a nice position, Keith, isn't he? And what about your machine, Fanny and D'Estraval?
Well, you've held him up again, and I've not seen him making any mistakes so far. There's a little low jump to the right there, but you'd be happy enough in that position at the moment. Magic Saint has got himself into second somehow. I don't think that was the intention given how they set off, but he has.
I like it. Brian Carver, I like this. You've got one to beat. He's probably thinking on the slopes is my main rival. I just want to sit on his tailcoats.
He's also not letting
up the pace.
I was going to come to you on that, Matty. They're just jumping it first on the far side. Now they have slowed it right down. If you're out the back, what are you thinking?
You'd still be a bit patient here. They've slowed up. They've gone quick early. Everyone's got their position. I'd still be happy enough because there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, Ballyward's got himself into a nice position as well for Alan King, Tom Cannon and the aforementioned Highclere. On the inside, Beat the Judge. He's been a bit novice-y, Matty, hasn't he? And he's shaking the reins a little bit then. Josh Moore.
Yeah, he's just niggling away a little. He just probably found the pace a little bit quick early. He just had a little reach for that one, but he's just struggling. But he does stay on at the end.
Yeah, he's a strong
He's
start.
close enough than he was the last day.
Looking for Harry Skelton, for Dan Skelton, his brother. They're just out the back on Born Survivor. I'll tell you what, if he wins this, lads, I'll be crying because he's one of those cliff horses for me. The outsider, Full Glass, Tabitha Worsley, a real talent in the saddle, but she is struggling already on this.
Who does it suit? If it turns into a sprint, who does it suit? Is it Magic Saint?
I'm not sure about that. Azuri's there as well, isn't he? Another one for Dan Skelton. Hello. For that. You can see Barry slightly ahead of us. He went, woo! Because On the Slopes had a right old reach for that. Barry, tell us about the market on the far side.
Yeah, not much change, Dave. 3.75, 11 to 4 from 5 to 2 out the slopes. Magic Saint come in to nearly the 11 to 4 mark. Now back out to 7 to 2. Fanon, D'Estraval around the 7 to 2 mark as well, and 9 to 2 Ballywood. It's all to play for, really.
Born Survivor's travelling. Born Survivor's travelling.
Matty, is this the trickiest fence on the course? 3 out.
One of them, yeah. You're trying to quicken the pace a little bit. You want to meet this on a nice stride.
Who wins
Here
it,
goes
Matty?
Dicky.
Over they go, all 5.
Born Survivor's chance has gone with that.
On the slopes.
There was a dramatic pause there because 4 are going clear. It is On the Slopes, giving a shake of the reins.
It's a big 3 in the market.
Absolutely cruising. Fanny and D'Estraval, he's there as well. Ballyward now just taking a blow in 4th. It looks like a 3-way play. What?
Fanny and D'Estraval is travelling.
Find?
He's a travelled best as with Fanny and D'Estraval. But
Barry, tell us about the market they're turning in.
Yeah, Magic Saint clear favourite now at 13
On the
to
Slopes
8.
is gone.
On the Slopes
6 to 4 on.
buckled.
Come on, the Magic. Up
Beat
you
the
go.
judge.
Go on, Brian
Beat the
Carver.
judge stays
Go on,
on.
Brian Carver.
he's
Set him
missed
right. This is absolutely class. What will he find out the field? We know he goes a bit further.
Charlie Deutsch still fancies
He's got
himself.
one more to go. Fanny and D'Estraval not out of this.
Oh!
He pecked on
Not his
Andy on
first
the last.
mistake, that.
Only at Cheltenham,
First mistake.
boys. Magic
Not
Saint
his
going
first
up to
mistake at
Dave
all,
Orton
isn't
in
it?
the first. Aye, says Brian Carver. What a talent. Fanny and D'Estraval. He's trying his hardest to get back, but that error, that was the worry beforehand. He's going to be second. The pair come clear. What a stormer.
Beat the judge third. Yeah.
Beat the judge was third. So listen, not bad between us, lads.
Yeah, I think that does
Needs
beat
to
the
step
judge.
up in trip, I
Beat the
think.
judge needs to
Got the
step up in
trifecta,
trip.
didn't we?
Yeah.
Not too
Between
bad.
us, yeah.
This is
between us.
easy.
This is easy. I told you beginner's luck, absolutely. Matty Batch is going to get lively in here today.
But I'm afraid it's not only Dicky pulling rank, it was Barry. And what have we backed?
Yes,
On the
absolutely.
slopes.
On the slopes, yes, indeed. Barry.
Sorry, IGF.
How short did he go, Barry, on the slopes? They must have known, I think, mustn't they?
Yeah, Fanny D'Estraval traded at 1.32, would you believe? On the slopes traded at a low at 2.96, just 2 to 1, but 3 to 1 on Fanny and D'Estraval.
Wow.
I think Keith said beforehand it could be a case where Magic Saint is just a real true staying 2-miler, and that's what it looked like off the back of that one.
Certainly does now, doesn't it? That's what I think we can conclude, that this isn't just a 2.5 miler or a bit of a bridle horse. It's actually a stiff 2-mile horse. And Fanny and D'Estraval, now what, as me and Matty were saying just there watching it, the last, where he makes the mistake that's crucial to the race, was far from his worst jump. What he had been doing all the way around is he jumped very low and a little bit right, and it was only there at the last where it really caught up with him. He's just landed a bit awkwardly. I think it was his
He jumped
front
the fence
right leg.
well.
Yeah,
He
it's
got
It's
in.
a bit of a knuckle.
Yeah, just knuckle
Yeah.
afterwards. He jumped the fence well. He was a bit low at the second last, went down to the last, changed his feet, got over well, landed, but just tripped afterwards.
I mean, he's still 6 to 4 against if he doesn't make that mistake, but it would have been a thriller.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say.
If you're taking one out of the race, guys, the runner-up being a 5-year-old first run back, Magic Saint had the pipe opener entry under his belt. We've seen a side to Magic Saint there that perhaps people didn't. He's answered some questions there, but surely the runner-up probably is the one you're going to want to take out of it.
You'd hope so, and I think he'll be better at a flatter track. He's a horse that really travels.
Yeah.
The comments that I think Charlie Deutsch was in the Racing Post today as one of his comments, and basically reading between the lines very thinly because it was pretty obvious, was this thing flies at home. And I'm not surprised to hear it, given how he's travelled through that race.
Yeah. On the slopes, a quick debrief about that one.
It probably does need further. What Dickie's done is he's got to dictate that race, but the result is that it was a sprint, and his horse isn't a sprinter.
No, he's jumped off to get the race, to make it into a staying race. Gone quick. He's set the early fractions, eased up a little bit, and they say they've just sprinted past him. Well, as I said before, I think he's a better 2.5 miler.
Yeah,
I think you're right. I think you called that one, Mattie.
Magic Saint then takes it out 100 to 30, the SP, and Fanny and D'Estraval, each way I'm sure a lot of you were on. And an interesting beat the judge. Let's have a quick word about this, Matty. You obviously fancied him to go really, really close. He just got a little bit lost. Was that a novice against the more hardened ones, or does he want a bit further?
Looking at it, I mean, it wasn't really novice mistake. He still jumped well, and I think that's kept him in the race a lot longer than he should have been in it. And I think if they step him up in trip, it'll all happen a little bit easier for him. Josh will be able to sit there, travel, and it take him into the jumps more than having to. There's nothing worse than going in and trying to look for a stride when you're trying to keep the horse up and keep the propulsion going.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? If only there was a novice handicap at the festival.
How does Harry Cobden feel about that? I know, like, obviously they wanted to claim the £5 off the winner, but he would have won £5 or no £5 claim, in my opinion. It's interesting. He goes up there. He's one ride today now in the next race, Harry Cobden. He's going all out for the title. That might leave a bit of a sour taste in the mouth.
I'm sure the horses Harry rides, he'll get over it.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a
the
problem.
The old farmer in him's not going to be too livid about it.
I don't think it'll be a problem.
Yeah, that's interesting, Barry. Is he going all out for the title? Yeah, because of course Nichol's Betfair ambassador.
Yeah, he's all out for the title. Yeah, I spoke to him last week about it, and he's really going to give it a good rattle this year. And obviously the stable's in flying form. He reached 50 during the week, so obviously he's got a lot of things to get right, and got to get plenty of outside rides as well, the same way Brian Hughes will up north. But it's definitely something he's very keen to have on his CV.
It's not easy. It's hard work to win a title. I've done it in Jersey. Yeah, 3 winners.
You've won the champion hurdle over there and everything, haven't you?
All that driving around, Matty.
All that driving around, that flying over to Jersey and Norway.
Tell us about your time in Jersey, though, Matty, because you have been going over there quite a bit, and you've ridden for some pretty esteemed owners over there, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had rides for Highclere. I've had winners for Sir Alex Ferguson.
Did he go over?
No, he didn't. No, I spoke to him.
You think that would be a lovely trip, wouldn't
it? It's a lovely trip.
I don't think they make nice red wine in Jersey, so Alex is not going to be interested.
I mean, if I gave you my CV without the places I've rode, 3 champion hurdles, Guineas, Derbies, Grand Nationals.
Is that right?
My CV is unbelievable. If you scrolled along to see the...
Geographically, it's a nonsense. Yeah, okay.
Have you got a race named after you over there?
No, not yet, but I'm the captain on the Question of Sport team over there.
Oh, lovely.
I'm that big over there.
Big news. Are you on billboards?
Yeah.
Racing in Jersey, it's a massive thing over there to them, isn't it? It's huge, isn't it? We all sort of treat it like a posh point to point, but it is actually proper livelihood over there.
That's great, yeah. And I mean, George Baker sends a lot of horses over here that probably just...
Dave Evans.
A little bit below over here. They go over there, like the Sir Alex Ferguson horse. If I had him, he struggled to win over here. He'd go around finishing 4th and 5th. He never got beat over hurdles over there. And the Bay Bandit of
Bay Bandit, that's the one you were 3 for 4 on him, weren't you?
Yeah,
the Bay Bandit.
Yeah, he just went over there, and because everything came easy to him, travel, and...
Nostalgia is one thing we're going to have here on the show. Like I said, real-time analysis, that's what you get. And we're having fun. Keep your social media comments coming in. This is the Racing Post Live with the Betfair Exchange. Keith Melrose.
I did just want to add one last thing before we round up on the 150. I watched the replay again, and Born Survivor shapes really well, actually.
Oh, don't start on this.
Next time, Dave, next time.
Next time. Absolutely. I've been saying next time for years and years and years.
He makes that terrible mistake 3 out and still just about comes back up for third.
He's a red herring, that chap.
He is a little bit, because I don't think he's a 2-miler though, is he? He probably wants 2.5. And the thing is, he's one of these horses that probably has a long list of demands.
You love a skeleton plot. You love a skeleton plot.
There's always a plan with skeleton. The thing is, what I like with trainers is looking who they learn from. And Skelton learnt from Nichols. Yeah. And Nichols, there's always a plan with every single horse, no matter what is rated in the Nichols yard, there's always a plan for the season. And Skelton does exactly the same.
Yeah, I think Paul Nichols is just going to have another superb season, isn't he? He's just on fire absolutely everywhere. Talking of times, the first race, we had a race before we came on air. It was a hurdle race, conditional riders, slow by 1780 seconds, and the second over the fence is 1574. So, good bit of juice, isn't there?
Yeah, and the rain's forecast to come tomorrow, mostly late in the day. So I think Sunday's going to be very testing. Just a nice timing to put that 3.5 mile handicap chase onto the Sunday when it gets really bottomless on the Sunday. And we've got the Arco trial now on the Saturday in its stead. So yeah, I think
bumpers, don't they? And sometimes those bumpers on the Saturday, the mares, they struggle to get up the hill.
So I think we're looking at
up and it's like the cross country course now. That's always softer in the middle as well.
It's interesting that, isn't it?
Yeah, the drainage is not as great in the middle than...
Because you expect it to be quicker traditionally on that.
The cross-country track. I mean, just remembering going descriptions, it tends to be faster than the main track.
Are we fans of the cross-country racing? Barry, how do you take this cross-country racing? It's a marmite, isn't it, for lots of people? I personally have been a fan. Remember old Spot the Difference and the likes of that? What was the horse of Tony Martin's that used to come over back in the day? Great, looks like thunder. All these sort of horses. They become synonymous with this type of racing. I love it. I like going to Cheltenham, standing in the middle. But some punters, however, can't stand it.
Oh, I enjoy it. I think it's a spectacle. I think there's a place for it on the racing calendar, definitely. I think there's enough of them. Having said that, I wouldn't like to see much more. I think the one at the festival, obviously Gordon Elliott has used it well and used it well in the preparation for Tiger Roll towards the Grand National. And interesting to see Christian Williams doing the same thing this time round with Potter's Corner. So, I think it's definitely deserves its place in the calendar, and I'm a fan of them, but I think there's enough of them as it is now between here and Punchestown.
Yeah, the Banks races, of course, the PP Hogan, the famous double there. Okay, so look, that's a word. Let us know what you think of the cross-country. You can get your comments in here. We'll give you a shout-out. Great to have you out there. We know you're loving the show. Mattie Batch, Keith Melrose, a betting editor, and Barry Orr, the big hitter from Betfair. Shall we move on, chaps? Shall we move on? We've got Novice Chase coming up, haven't we? So we've had a nice competitive handicap. Now we've got the youngsters coming out to shine, and just the 4 runners go to post. Can we get the market up on the screen? Barry can take us through who's been hot and who has been not.
Yeah, this is another cracking little race, isn't it? I know there's only 4 runners, but the top 3 in the betting, wouldn't be surprised any one of them could win. Harry Skelton's Mount Protectorate, currently 2.54, which is 6-4, and then it's 5-2 each of 2. Southfield Stone and Mossy Fen, 20 Paint the Dream on the Betfair Exchange. I think I really like Southfield Stone, and I think he's the pace angle in the race as well. I know Paint the Dream likes to be close up and race prominent, but I don't think he's going to lead Southfield Stone. Harry Cobden, like we said, going here for one ride today. I thought he jumped adequately when he won the Novice Chase here in October. He saw a really nice stride at the last that day. And he's a horse that I think there's going to be improvement in him. Don't forget he was a Dovecot winner a couple of years back, the Grade 2. Mossy Fen is one. He's a horse I liked as a novice hurler. When he won that novice hurl in Aintree on his second run, I think, over hurls, he went off and made all that day. And it'd be interesting to see if he tries to go off and make all today. He was held up behind Galvin and jumped a bit right, markedly right at the second, just past the stands here on his debut. He's sure to come on significantly for that. And obviously, Protectorate in Carlisle, I just thought he jumped out to the left a little bit as well. Not too badly, but it was just enough to put me off him. So Southfield Stones for me here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay Protectorate in the place market. So Keith, if you'd like to go onto the place market there.
Okay.
It's 2 places, so I'm looking to get it beat out, and he's 2-1 on, which I don't mind throwing away 25 quid here, or I don't mind throwing away. Yeah, we're gonna stake take 50 or 100 quid at the backer stake to lose 50. Yeah, so we've kind of I've budgeted for 50 quid a race today. So if we lay take 152, we can lay it at 152, take 100 quid at the backer stake to lose a little over 50 quid, and I'm happy that I think Southfield Stone, Mossy Fen, or even maybe Painted Dreams could finish in front of Dan Skelton's Church.
Barry, have you budgeted for our lunch as well out of that? No?
Yeah, there's a nice Waitrose down below the building there, Matty. Did you not grab
Lovely.
a sandwich on the way in?
Yeah, I'll get one on the way out.
Well, he doesn't miss a trick, does he? Barry's right as well, by the way.
Right, Barry. So we've only been matched for £85 there. So
Don't worry, that'll be matched.
That will
You
be
just
matched.
leave that there.
Leave it there.
That'll get done.
Lovely.
So that is Barry's trade on. There's a bit of protocol on the show. We know that's how you like us to start. We listen to you out there. Let us know you're out there. Keep the social media comments coming in. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. We've got a healthy old following. Let's get it right up. This is the Cheltenham Open meeting after all. We're one race down here on RP Live. Absolutely loving life. We've heard what Barry's got to say. Let's go down the panel. Keith Melrose.
Yeah, I mean, Mossy Fen, we and Paul Keeley have been in the office having a bit of a debate about Mossy Fen this morning. He's been massively punted all day. He was 13-2 this morning. He's now into 5-2. On the machine, he was just about second favourite there ahead of Southfield Stone. I think this horse is more of a stayer in time. Keels doesn't think he really got 3 miles last year. I thought he got outpaced as much as anything. And Son of Milan, I think, is likely to stay in time. I do like Southfield Stone in the race. I think it's interesting. Barry said he's a pace angle because that means that Harry
Yes.
Cobden intends to make it, doesn't it?
Well, quite right. But the pace is interesting in the race.
Well,
isn't
yes, it is,
Yeah.
because there's potentially, Mossy Fen has made it, as Barry said, and Protected It did make it at Carlisle.
He tore off, didn't he?
Yeah, certainly did. It
Yeah.
just kept it. Maybe they knew he was going to jump out to the left like that.
Well, that'll happen today round here. Jumping
Well,
left.
absolutely, yeah. It's going to make a big difference. What I noticed, Mattie, I wrote in the paper today, I watched that Carlisle run, and all his hurdles forms on really testing ground, and I saw a bit of knee action. Is that something that you would, when you're riding, or do you feel the what a horse does and how it interacts with the ground?
Yeah, I mean, normally if they've got a high knee action, they definitely want the softer ground, obviously, because it's coming up higher and it's not on the firm ground, they're going to feel it more. So, yeah, it's definitely something you look out for. A couple of the horses, they loved soft ground, like the Carruthers and Coney Gree, and that's it. So it's a big thing and a big factor. I do like Mossy Fen. It was fourth behind Galvin. Now, if you go back that time, Twiston's horse weren't really running well, and they was under a bit of a cloud. They're out of that cloud now. He had a winner yesterday at Taunton. He had a winner at Bangor. They're back on form.
He was well fancied that day, wasn't he?
Yeah.
They are needing their run this year. Normally you expect Twiston Davies horses to be ready first time up. But they've needed it this year.
They've turned a corner as well, I think. They weren't right. They weren't right. The whole yard there's a bit of a cloud over them. But let's say they're coming out the other side now. I'd say a couple of winners this week, and he's got one later on that I like as well, which we'll talk about. But this, I think, I think you'll see a different horse today.
Yeah, previous winning form. I was just having a look down the list. We were chatting there, guys, of the roll call of honours. It's got some, as you might expect, it's got some proper horses in it. Of course, this day last year was postponed until the Saturday. They didn't reschedule the race. Twisters won it with Count Maribel. Do you remember that was
Count
Mark
Maribel,
Grant's
yeah.
first ever winner?
Mark Grant,
I was
yeah.
there that day. He was tears coming down him as he
Yeah.
was coming in. Quite embarrassing.
Great
actually.
lad, Mark Grant. Yeah,
He was bluffing. He really was like a baby.
that was the only who used to have horses with
The stripes, isn't it? Colours.
Jeff King. Do you remember Jeff King? They used to have. That's it. Yeah, they moved. Yeah.
And Mark obviously very loyal to them, does a lot of
Yeah.
work behind the scenes for them, doesn't he? Sells a few horses as well.
But what to note actually about looking at previous winners of this race, it's a 2.5 mile race, but looking at the history, the winner tends to go RSA favourite, if anything.
Finian's Oscar won it,
Finian's Oscar.
007, more of that.
More of that,
Chasing Davies.
Dinas Grand Cru, Time for Rupert, they all went RSA
Time
favourite.
for Rupert, yeah.
Paul Weathers.
Yeah, Paul Webber,
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I've got properly sucked into him. I think he had probably bleeding issues, didn't he, on the day in the RSA? Something
possibly.
there was an excuse. I mean, I don't
Was
think I'm over that yet.
Was that any Boston's Angel one?
Ooh, could well have been that. That's
a shout.
That's a memorable RSA, isn't it?
Yeah, well.
My
That
excuse,
one- cross-country
I've got
races,
no
of course.
memory. There are too many banks to the end.
Yeah. So listen, winning form. You don't have to have had winning form. Mossy Fen's a fascinated player. I mean, is he going to be quick enough to lead the likes of Protectorate?
I don't
That
think
would be
he'll
mine.
lead.
I don't think you
he'll
have to lead.
I think that this is potentially a pace burn up here. Southfield Stone isn't a horse you want to wait with, I think. He's got to give £3 of Protectorate. I came down on the side of Protectorate. I ummed and ahed. And we've got 15 minutes to this race. I'm a little bit disappointed by this race.
Why?
The turnout.
Why?
In fact, I'm a
Still,
little bit
I'll tell you what.
disappointed about the British novice chasers thus
Talk
far.
among yourself. I'm going to tell you, when was the last time? I can't remember the last time this had more than about 4 runners, to be honest. It always cuts up this. He says that there were 7 there were 7 in 2018.
I was going to say you've had a shocker.
No, it does. So with the year Finian's Oscar won it, 4.
Yeah. I don't mean
There were 7
numerically,
to be
Mr.
fair, a
Melrose.
massive field. It's like the National, that.
I mean what I mean is the quality of horse.
Right.
We've not got any 150 hurdlers in here, let's put it that way.
No, I mean,
maybe Southfield Stone would have been, if he'd have been allowed his chance. Of course, you remember Southfield Stone, we did this meeting last month on RP Live, and we were talking about him. When he won that Dovecote and he beat Angel's Breath, they were talking about missing out Cheltenham altogether, weren't they? So he's proved himself. That was a big tick that he needed.
I mean,
where do you go with this horse?
He is a big horse, but he's also, they're quite convinced he's a top of the ground horse, and it suggests, the way he goes about things suggests he is actually, he's got a real sort of daisy cutter action on him. And he's also been very cleverly campaigned, because he shouldn't be a novice, because he won his first chase on February the 1st.
That's right, yeah.
Most years, he wouldn't be a novice anymore. Usually if you
plan in place.
There's always a plan with Nichols.
Always
Here we are, we're learning something as we go along. So, Mattie, did you come down on Mossy Fen?
I want to go with Mossy Fen, yeah.
Mossy Fen. All right. I mean, he is absolutely fascinating. And that's quite an interesting angle that you gave there. This is over 2.5 miles, but if you look down the list, actually beaten behind Count Maribel that day, you remember, was Le Broy for Ben Pauling, who ended up in the National Hunt Chase. Well, a cracker over the 4 mile that day. So this is for future stayers. Tactics will be key here. If they go bowling out on Protectorate, I don't know. I think he might take a bit of catching personally. Obviously, he's got form here as well. But tricky race. How's the market shaping up with 10 minutes to go, Barry Orr?
Yeah, Protectorate's still your favourite, 6-4. Hasn't been a whole lot of movement in it. Around 11-4 now, Southfield Stone. Mossy Fen has just come in for a bit of support into around the 5-2 mark at 3.40 and 20 Painted Dream. It's been a lively enough market, about 175 grand so far matched in it. But don't forget, most of the liquidity will come into the Betfair Exchange market around that. In this period, 10, 7, 5 minutes before the off, it tends to get quite liquid.
There will be people shouting, saying, Painted Dreams 21, he finished second in the Dipper. But I mean, obviously, he would have been third if Champ had stood up.
He's the one with the experience, isn't it?
But he is a real stayer, though. He's a proper 3-miler.
I remember back in...
Has to be the best name for a novice chase. The Dipper.
The Dipper, yeah.
What a great name for a novice chase.
I've always resented it being taken away from Newcastle.
We saw the Dipper winner, didn't we, in the week at Exeter? Fiddler on the Roof.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah, that was...
beating...
It was a
Fergal
O'Brien.
O'Brien.
Silver Hallmark.
Yeah,
Silver
William
Hallmark,
Hucker.
yeah.
With
William
Sporting John complete blowout, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was a good run from Silver Hallmark.
A massive run. He was behind him in the Tolworth, wasn't he? But he obviously hadn't been seen since. I had a very, very classy form. They won the Dipper, of course, with Lost in Translation. So it looks the tried and tested path for him. So
also the Rucker horse, they won that with the Spirit of Large last year before he won the Henry VIII.
They've got the big breakaway, haven't they? He makes his chasing debut. That's something. He's one of my 10.
Lovely horse.
Is that the one that's enormous?
He's
one at
huge.
Chestnut, big chestnut horse.
He disappointed in the Ballymore, didn't he? Just got lost. He'd never been asked to race before.
That can happen sometimes. You go.
Tizard had a terrible week. Do you remember?
Just know the course, because that was the season
Fiddler on the
finish.
Roof was one of them, wasn't he? He just did not find at all. Actually, he didn't run too badly. So listen, the British Novice Chase division. What do you think of it? Are the Irish much stronger? Let us know. Who are your big fancies for the festival? Did we see a potential Grand Annual winner in Magical Saint? In Magic Saint, of course. This is a beautiful meeting for going forward. We were talking off air, weren't we? And I said I'm a bit disappointed by the British Novice Chasers in this race. I was expecting something a bit stronger. Azurchip come out of this meeting, Matty, didn't he? But, where's the Arkle winner? Is it a fashion thing? I don't know.
But you notice how it was a 2.5 mile race has been won by future stayers. It's symptomatic of what they're doing. They don't want to slog the guts out of horses in November.
Yeah.
So they're making it as easy as they can on these young novices as they build up to the spring festivals. That's what's happening.
To go to your Kingmakers and things like that, Warwick instead maybe.
The big trial will be the Dipper, there'll be the Kingmaker, there'll be for the 3-milers that Hampton Court race at Warwick, Hampton, I forget. That 3 mile at Warwick that's actually a good race now, the 2 for Gold one last year.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Yeah. I think they're just as you say, I think they're just protecting them a little bit instead of running them on this ground. You have an hard race on this sort of ground, like before you know it, you're going to be in January and they're just recovering. So it's hard. But it'd be interesting to see what Harry Cobden does in this horse, because he hit the front last time out and the horse idled a little bit. Will he hold on to him for a little bit longer and make one swooping run? Because he was idling up the running a little bit.
He did, and I thought he was more superior than a result over Cool Cody, because he was just dossing up the running.
Cool Cody runs tomorrow.
He does, he runs in the big race.
Yeah, so this could be a nice form line we've got going in. We've got a social, let's get it out. I'm told we've got a social. I saw that a little while ago, actually, apologies. Andy Rubenheimer, did I get that right? Yeah, all over Southfield Stone. That was long odds against me getting that wrong, wasn't it? I'm on. Andy Rubenheim about Southfield Stone. Interestingly, on that point, Andy, I was just looking at Nichol's record in this. Did I say is it Andre? Did you say? Sorry, I did get it totally wrong. Apologies. The old eyes are not what they were, you know. Maybe Mattie, you could start reading them out.
You guess next, Mattie.
I've been sending him in. Have you underneath the desk? So we've got Paul Nicholls, 4 runners in this. Somewhat unusually, actually, just the one place. So this isn't a race that certainly in recent years, that Paul has had.
But again, Southfield Stone's a totally different horse to what he's sending. He's normally sending novices. Often it'll be their first
You're
run
keen
of
on this, are you?
I like this horse, yeah. I think that as long as, the ground doesn't look terribly testing out there and he's a bit of a horse like that. And yeah, he's got that experience behind him. He's been obviously got ready and has 150 plus form. He's going to make them go. And yet he's third favourite of 4.
Yeah, they're ambling around in the paddock at the minute. So we've got plenty of time to digress on some stories of Mattie and indeed what we think is going to happen going forward. What are you looking forward to at the weekend? Have you got any naps out there? Who are the best jockeys riding at this meeting? What are your favourite Cheltenham memories? We've got plenty of time to talk in between, which reminds me of a memory actually. This meeting was the meeting that actually got me into racing. When I went, I was lucky enough to go and I got invited to a box. You know when you're a football fan and your dad owns a box or something, or he's got a table at a restaurant, you don't have to do...
Don't do
No,
How the other half live.
Well, what I'm saying is you don't have to, earn your stripes on the terraces to a certain extent. You don't have wind and rain all over you. I got a little bit like that in racing. I got invited to a box over the winning line. We had John Joe and McManus one side and Labrooks when Mike Dillon, the great Mike Dillon, was holding up. It was an unbelievable who's who for me, and I was completely starstruck as we went around. It was when Rhinestone Cowboy won the bumper. Do you remember that? 2001, I think that was 2001.
It was around it, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was a meeting I was at.
Well, he won. He went off favourite for the champion in 2000.
Did Rooster Booster win the Greatwood?
That would have been 2002. No, 1 maybe.
2001, I think. Yeah, so listen, anyway, this meeting. And there was a memorial afterwards. You might have been there, Mattie, I don't know. Afterwards on the Sunday, above one of the convention rooms.
What other meetings are on?
Fontwell.
Jersey!
Yeah, that's what I've been.
Exactly. Maybe you weren't there, Mattie. But everyone was there. Maybe Barry Orr might have been there. You can tell me about this. And Lord Vestey was in charge of the course at the time. And the people that were doing this box, they had a memorial on some chap who passed away that year, and everyone was there. Ruby Walsh was there, the late Pat Smullen was there, everyone. I mean, it was a who's who. I was completely starstruck. Now what happened was there was loads of Irish, as Barry said, loads of Irish used to come over for this meeting, or still can where they can. And outside in the office, you noticed we had a hurdle. In the Racing Post office, we've got a couple of actual live hurdles. Well, Lord Vestey, I don't know what happened, they must have had a couple of sherries, I think. They arranged for the groundsman to bring a couple of hurdles in. Now, have you ever been in one of those conference rooms like there? It's concrete underneath, rock hard ground. And it was an Anglo-Irish over 3 hurdles. Someone was taking the book. There were pinkies flying around everywhere. I was, of course, an English guy, and they lined up. Tony Martin was there. I remember he was betting on it, and there was this Irish guy got his top off like this, and they were just about to go over. The English guy didn't get past the first. He went down, took his shoulder blade out. There was an air ambulance called. It was an absolute disaster. But the Irish guy was there, and the Irish, over that. Everyone's got a great social meeting, social memory from this meeting. That would be mine, I think. That's a biggie. But you weren't there, Barry, were you, by any chance?
Yeah, I probably was. Yeah, Rhinestone Cowboy, Stormin' Norman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stormin' Norman.
What a legend.
Norman Williamson. There you go.
What a legend. I remember
That's what I mean about this meeting. You just have to say a horse, you just have to say a jockey, you just have to say a race, and it all comes flooding back.
Well, I was
all,
thinking
all
about
the
Nick
Irish
Dundee.
fellas were in that bar in Montpellier. You know, it used to be
Yes,
the real
the wine bar.
And they all sang it. There was 2 great songs that were sang in there: Rhinestone Cowboy and You'll Never Walk Alone.
Unbelievable.
They
Of
were
course,
the
Christy
two.
Remember
Roach.
that? Did that
and
win
JP
the
McManus,
Did that
yeah.
win the William Hill? What's now the Ultima? You'll Never Walk
Did
Alone.
it win it? It's a great shout. It might well have done.
I think it won it.
I think I backed it in it. Christy Roach, of course. Paddy now training. So listen, let us know your Cheltenham memories. If they're clean, mine was. It had an option not to be. We'll give you a shout out. So listen, we're having lots of fun. But
health and safety now. Wouldn't be hurdles up in there anymore, would you?
I don't know what happened, Mattie. I wasn't there. if HR are listening. No, it was back in the day. That's the sort of thing that can happen at Cheltenham. It's absolutely magical. So no spectators at the moment. Will that change in March? Fingers crossed. A lot of positivity out there. And once again, what are your feelings about that lockdown? Let us know. How you coping out there? Are we lifting your spirits? Are you enjoying having racing and sport on in this lockdown? We're here to listen. Get your comments in. Okay, we did digress along the way. I expect one down the line each race. Is that possible? A story down the line. You were telling us a story. Come on, let's get this in now. And we said we might do this on the show. You were talking about when you wore a helmet, a dodgy riding hat, shall we say, into the
So
course.
the latter stages of my career. So you get a hat, get a new hat, and then it normally lasts for about a year. Because if you have a couple of falls on it, they says it will take the impact, so you have to get a new one. So we was racing one day, Dickie's next to me, Dickie Johnson, and he looked at the date on mine. It was about 4 years out of date. He said, "Batch," he said, "what are you doing?" He said, "You can't wear this." He said, I said, Dickie, I said, "Listen, it's fine." I said, "I don't get that many rides anymore." I said, "There's not a lot upstairs, there's not a lot to protect." I said, "I'll be fine, not a problem." Gone out there. A couple of days later, went down to Taunton. I think he was at Ludlow. Walked into Taunton, with me peg. Have a look, brand new hat. All paid for. I was like, "Oh, they said, oh, Dickie got it for you." I said, "Oh, brilliant. Oh, fantastic." On the way home, bring him up. "Dickie," I said, "listen, you didn't have to do that, mate." I said, he went, "No, Batch." He said, "Look," he said, "I can't have you going out with a hat that old. You can't. It's new. It's my pleasure." I said, "Thanks very much." I said, "Listen, Dickie, thanks very much." I said, I've got to go, Dickie. The car's playing up if you want to get a new one."
The MOT's
The MOT's due, Dick, at the service.
Ooh, that's sweet.
Dickie, hello, Dickie.
What an absolute gent he is. There you go. Fantastic. She just wanted to come from Keith Melrose and Barry Orr. Now, tell us your stories. We're going to get away with it, but they are very nearly off then, aren't they? 2:25. We're loving life here on Racing Post Live. Let's hope you are as well. The Betfair Exchange. Remind us of your trade, Barry, and how's the market looking?
Yeah, at the moment, the market Protecker at very strong, into 5 to 4 now, 2.28 on the Betfair Exchange. Southfield Stone currently 4.0, which is 3 to 1, and it's 11 to 4, 3.75. Mossy Fen, small few quid for Painted Dream, into 18 now from 20.
Okay, so you're against Protector, aren't you? The more I look at it, the more I can see it. I have to admit, I do fear Mossy Fen more over Southfield Stone. I just do. So there we are. So listen, let's get your selections in. Let us know. We haven't had too many selections along the way thus far. Room for plenty more. We've got it all coming in, haven't we? Okay, let's just have a quick mention about the Paddy Power Gold Cup Touring. Back in its old guise, of course. Used to be known as the Mackerson, didn't it? It was Thomas Pink at the meeting.
Oh, the Thomas Pink.
It was the Thomas Pink. That's it.
Now, I used to love it when it was the Thomas Pink. I was very fortunate.
I got freebies.
I got a ride in the Thomas Pink, but the only thing I enjoyed getting the ride, because you got 250 quid free for the vouchers.
Is that right?
Went up to London. What's the very posh street?
Savile Row?
No.
Jeremy Street.
Jeremy Street.
Jermaine Street.
Jermaine Street.
As we call it in Brighton.
I've never been there.
So there's me and my two mates, 3 Herberts, walked into Thomas Pink, and the old sale assistant's like, one of those, you in the right shop, sir? Just whopped out the 250 quid voucher. Oh, it couldn't be more helpful.
Is that right?
Brilliant, yeah.
He didn't actually get any money out of you, though, did he? You thought you might,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Thomas Pink. Who remembers when it was Thomas Pink? Fantastic.
Cypher Malta won the Thomas Pink,
Yes.
didn't he?
That's the way he won my race.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
What were you on?
Skycab for Josh Gifford.
Lovely.
Josh
Gifford, yeah. I had a few rides for Josh.
Was it Kopeck, wasn't it? The horse that was it? I think it was that the meeting he came to grief at. It might have been. That was the horse, the next great horse that the late Josh Gifford was going to have. Great memories were coming along all the way. When you mentioned Cypher Malta, I remember Tony Martin said to me, I met him in that actual box called Mr. Martin at the time, and he said, "I can see in this eye." I won't do the Irish accent. He goes, "I can see there's a horse down in the ring. I can see he's bang up for it." And everyone was, "What's that?" It was Cypher Malta, who of course went on to win for the late David Johnson and the Pipe team.
Well, it was a story that AP McCoy used to tell about Cypher Malta, wasn't it? About how Martin Pipe used to love it. He says, "Cypher Malta, this Cypher Malta." Every single morning you go down and it was Cypher Malta and he's checking his box. And you can't imagine Martin Pipe getting excited about much, can you? But he absolutely loved that horse, didn't he?
It's a tool of a horse as well. Yeah, they were great colours, weren't they? So listen, all the memories keep coming in. Social comments, they are about to go off. You'll be pleased to hear the 2:25. It is the Novice Chase. Will we see a Cheltenham festival hopeful here? Will something go and absolutely tear it up, or will it be neck and neck all the way? Just to remind you down the team, Barry's taking on Protectorate. Place lay for Barry, and away we go. And Southfield Stone has adopted the front running role. As
Barry called it.
And Barry.
Oh, no.
But
hold on.
Listen, they're taking each other on. Protectorate. In fact, he's now going to lead over last. Oh, Harry Skelton says you're not going to have this tactical affair to yourself. Mossy Fen tags on, and despite being the most experienced at the back, Paint the Dream hits the first. Keith Melrose, give us a take about the pace.
Mossy Fen, Sam Twiston Davies is delighted at what's just happened there.
Yeah,
I think
delighted,
Harry Skelton's eyeballed Harry Cobden, and Sam Twiston Davies is the man rubbing his hands there because Mossy Fen wants them. Sorry?
Could set it up for him.
Yeah, absolutely could. He wants those two to go at it.
The problem is you're going to want to lay up, aren't you? He's just had a look at that second as well. He ambled his way over it. Protectorate's now got a bit of an easy lead. Barry, how's the market reacted after the third fence?
Yeah, Protectorate into 11-10 off the back of that surprise in tactics. 11-4 Southfield Stone 2 and 18 Paint the Dream, who was in as short as 12 at one stage pre-race.
I'm not totally sure he jumps as well, despite the fact, like I said, Fergal O'Brien, what a trainer he is. He's having a great season as well. So, a little bit tactical now, Matty Batch, as they come into their stands for the first time.
Yeah, very tactical. Yeah, see, Harry's got the lead now, and he's eased up the pace a little bit. I'm quite surprised Harry ain't sort of gone upside him just to
make him think about it.
Just to make him think about it a little bit. Yeah.
Do you try and soften up a front runner? Is that so? Are you thinking if you kick, I'm in trouble here? So.
It all depends what sort of the front runner is. If you think by taking it on, it's going to sort of hinder him or put him off a little bit, you might do it. But if you're happy to sit behind him a little bit, as I said earlier, Harry might want to get a lead. He might be better with a lead because he does idle a little bit in front. So the longer you're getting a lead, it's easier for his horse as well.
Yeah.
What would the jockey that you're up against also come into it? Like, would you? Because I wouldn't fancy eyeballing Harry Skelton because you would blink first.
Paddy Brennan was one that you might not want to go upsides, isn't he, as well?
No, he might hit you in the face.
Is that right? Tony Dobbin used to like getting his elbows out, didn't he? I remember that. So, we are going into the home straight for the first time. In fact, we're coming out of it. And Protectorate, he wears a hood for a good reason. Alex Ferguson, the aforementioned with Jeb Mason in those very, very famous colours. Clanders Oboe these days. But what a friend, as we mentioned. He's got a nice, easy lead. He's being nice and enthusiastic. They're
jumping straighter as well, I think.
Do you think? Yes.
Going left-handed.
Absolutely. He has got Cheltenham
got him right
form,
down on the pan.
Very nice. Mossy Fen, I don't know, he's still a little bit cumbersome for me, Keith Melrose.
A little bit, yeah. And Southfield Stone isn't taking off like he might. He's low.
Yeah.
Big horse like him, and he's getting quite
got a little
low.
slap down the shoulder there from
It
Harry.
was. I mean,
just to buckle his ideas up a little bit.
They're almost in market order then as they go to the first on the far side. Expect the pace over the 2 for mile 4 to start hotting up soon. Over the water they go. Mossy Fen. Sam Twiston Davis had to sit tight. Barry gave us a preview again on that. Paint the Dream, well, he's probably playing for 4th place at the minute.
Yeah,
so the big 2 in the market, they are going upsides. Barry, let's come to you then. How are the in-running players playing?
Yeah, odds on now, Protectorate at 1.88. So, well, even money now he's just gone to, and a shade of odds on again.
He's probably
it's
jumped the best of them.
market as you'd expect. Southfield Stone 9-4-8. Mossy Fen out to 8-1 now off the back of his jumping.
He wouldn't want it to turn into a sprint, Keith, either.
No, I think I'm looking at Paint the Dreamer. He's basically trying to be Stephen Bradbury, isn't he? Remember that speed skater from Australia? That's what it is. And Southfield Stone's hit that one as well. They're going up the hill now with this bit.
Oh, Moss is in trouble.
This is one of the most.
Moss
I always get the
is in
impression.
trouble.
I always get the impression from the jockeys that this is one of the most important tactical bits of the race at Cheltenham, going up to this ditch. Is that right?
Yeah, you want to. The momentum you want to get, if you sort of get in deep to this, you lose a bit of ground.
Like Southfield Stone has.
Yeah.
He's flown it. Protectorate.
Thanks, Harry.
Flew it.
Yeah, cheers, Harry.
Yeah, so, okay, nice even pace at the minute then, and we are really getting to match
Protectorate's
time now.
absolutely tanking.
Yeah, Mossy Fen just absolutely paced us for this. It looks like the experiment to 2 miles is not going to work. That gamble going astray. Paint the Dream is coming into 3rd place.
Well,
He's actually travelled, yeah.
How's he going to find this tricky 3rd fence? Now they're starting to motor. What are you thinking now, Matty Batch?
This is where you want a good jump here.
Get a stride.
You get a stride. He's looking for one, Harry.
Cobden.
They're going upsides now. This is key. I'll tell you what, Southfield was a little bit better there, lads, wasn't he?
He was.
Just quicker over it.
Yeah, he's gone favoured on the exchange.
He does travel a bit.
Coming back a little bit, but surely
But when does he hit the front though, Matty? What are you doing here? You're on a horse that idles. You've gone upsides, turning around Cheltenham. What are you doing?
We're about to turn in.
He's gone behind him again now.
Ah.
It looks like it's all over there. There's a weight concession, but it's not mattering at the moment. Southfield's done absolutely nothing.
Well, this
has gone again. This is mildly impressive, lads. I tell you, this guy has been waiting to go effective. 2 out, over he goes, nice and easy. Southfield about 6 lengths down. Paint the Dream may well get in for second. If he gets up the hill and over the last 1, 2, 3, pop he goes. Not probably his worst jump so far, but he's up. He's tiring a little bit. Race is in the bag. So Alex Ferguson's got himself a very nice chaser in the making here. Amazing how they can improve for Dan and Harry Skelton over the larger obstacles. And it's a favourite that goes in. Pretty straightforward stuff. He got eyeball 3 out. Aye, see you later. Southfield Stone, we're watching for the second. Yeah, he's ambled home. Paint the Dream, eased off in third. And Mossy Fen, didn't see him finish. Hopefully everything is all right there.
It's a very lacklustre performance from Southfield.
Yeah, well, when he stopped, when he looked like he was stopping turning in, I thought, well, he'll finish last now.
I thought he'd get done for second.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. The fact that he held on for second ahead of a strong steer. What happened there?
That's what I mean. Yeah, at the second last, I thought Paint the Dream would definitely be second.
Yes, I was exactly the same.
Might have taken a bit out of himself last time.
He might have done, or, I mean, it's not out of the question. I missed it if he did, but protecting that might have just buried him.
It was impressive. Looking back at that Carlisle Novice Chase, that was the one question mark I had the form of that. Something was really well fancied in third that came out of the week, ran absolutely no race. Might have had something wrong with it, but I wasn't sure about the form. I'll tell you what, the second in that Carlisle race is one to look out for, the Peter Niven horse.
Peter Niven? I thought Sandy Thompson's finished second in that.
We'll get the name if you can see it out there on your
I'll get it. Don't you worry.
Mallistic.
It's Peter. Elf de Ray was third. Sandy Thompson was third. Elf de Ray.
What was second?
Mallistic.
That was really eye-catching. Watch that back. You can do that on your race replays in the members club. Okay, Protectorate chaps. What do we do with him now? Stick to the Marsh trip, Matty Batch over 2 mile 4.
The way he's finished up that hill, I think you'd step him up.
Would you?
Yeah.
He's a 25-1 chance for the Marsh.
Okay, Barry, let's come to you. Give us the story of the market and indeed some anti-post quotes then.
I suppose the story of the market was Southfield Stone hitting a low of 1.54, nearly 1 to 2, just when he ranged up long sides before they turned into the straight. Found very little, very disappointing run. The winner did what he did in Carlisle, off in front. I thought in a better quality race he might hold him up, but their intentions were clear very early. They were going to put it up to Southfield Stone. They weren't going to let him get a freebie up front. And Mossy Fen, I suppose, very disappointing as well. But the winner gets a quote of 25-1 for the Marsh Novice Chase first show.
It's probably a little bit naive to think that Harry Skelton would take a lead, didn't you? I mean, if he was a ghost, he wouldn't give you a fright. he's not going to give you an easy lead, is he, the Harry Skelton?
No, definitely not. And they're a positive tactic yard, aren't they? I think the Skeltons.
That's how Harry rides, and he's become very, very good at it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You think back to when they won the Greatwood with what was the Greatwood winner they had a couple of years ago?
What's it?
Superb Story.
Yes, that's that as well, right?
It's up there somewhere. The grey matter still works. They can get these strong travelling sorts in novices and that, but you do associate them usually with being positive, getting on with it. The facilities they have there, Matty, are unbelievable, aren't they? Obviously, they've got strong links to the eventing world with the father, Nick, gold medalist, of course. The facilities are second to none. They do. Shamblu is the other horse this year, isn't it? It's just looked okay as a novice hurdler. Grade 2 material. Absolutely. Definitely Grade 1 now.
Oh, absolutely taken off for over fences, hasn't it, that horse?
It's amazing how a horse can improve from going from hurdles to fences. And as you say, the facilities there, I mean, whenever you see them interviewed together, they're always very thankful for what their dad's done for them. Without him, they wouldn't have done it. But you still need the people to invest, the owners to bring the horses. He can listen. There's no doubt he can train. And Harry's always been a great rider.
Do you think you're looking at a future champion trainer?
It's not out of the realms of possibility, and a future champion jockey in Harry. If they get enough horses, I mean, Harry won the Queen Mother last year for Nichols. In Harry's mind, he probably thought he'd never rode for Nichols again. That's how the type. Like when he rode for Nichols, he was brilliant. Lose the Nichols job or don't start riding for Nichols, everyone questions. Oh, is he the jockey he was? It's in my eyes, it's complete rubbish. You never forget how to ride. The ability's always there. This game is a massive confidence thing.
You're talking yourself into a couple of festival rides here.
I mean, you could have learned from you, mate.
I know what I'm talking about. I'm not delusional.
I don't know. Our viewers might think
Well, that's true, yeah.
different on that front.
I've
It's
had
great to have
my
Mattie
festival
back,
winner, I'm happy.
happy days. We're enjoying ourselves. So look, the Skeletons, what do you think of them? Are they reliable as players out there? Were you with Protectorate disappointed in the Coral Cup, although it was a bit of a funny gallop in that last year? He's now found his niche, isn't he? Are we looking at a player for the Cheltenham Festival? Let us know. 25 to 1 on the sportsbook, says Barry.
He
Or
looks like he's outstayed every one of them, doesn't
He does look like he's outstayed them.
I like what you said in the run. He's gone again.
Yeah.
You don't often say that.
I think that's what it was. I think that is what it was. A Southfield stone. I mean, I thought his breathing had gone. I thought he choked. He stopped that quickly.
He did.
Listen, you can, of course, on the BHA website find the why they ran badly. At the end of the day, you'll find all the excuses. Nichols does like to get them in. I can tell you that from experience. But yeah, he certainly does. The experience website is one of the best, actually.
We saw the head on, and Mossy Fender get pulled up before 2 out.
Did he?
So
Yeah.
probably not all well there.
No.
He was just fiddling them a bit. It wasn't. I think slightly before the pace angle came into it.
He never looked happy, really.
No, he was always jumping a bit right actually
Yeah.
as well. He might.
He did the same here on his first run as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He might want to go the other way
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. For a horse that wins an Albert Bartlett trial at Warwick, you want to be. You shoot your fine on left-handed tracks.
Is it Stairs that win that race?
It tends to be.
Is it?
It tends to be. Yeah.
To be fair, the only winner I could name off the top of my head is the new one. So
Well, yeah, okay, which of course did come
Didn't
back. I was
they,
about to say the hint is in the name, the Albert Bartlett trial, but
yeah, it's a Leamington.
Is that
Really,
the
it's called
grade
the
two?
Leamington
Oh, yeah,
Spa.
2
I've
out of
won
5. The
that,
Leamington.
yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I thought it rang a bell.
Is that the Jersey equivalent?
We didn't
of
even.
that?
We didn't even set that
Carruthers
up.
won it. Carruthers won it.
I remember that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't remember who he beat.
Didn't
that time.
didn't another brother?
Oh, they were that far behind. I don't know.
Still
I
looking.
was that far clear. I can't remember.
This is great stuff, isn't it? Happy days. All right, so look, we've got the man in the studio. So would you go Marsh with it? You think you really think he's an RSA type?
Just the way he looked like he outstayed them. You've got to take into account as well. Yes, he's 25 to 1 for the Marsh. Harry and Dan will know more than we do, but what you've got to take into account at the festival, the ground's going to be quicker. Will he appreciate the step up in trip? Listen, he might find the 2.5 fine.
Isn't Shan Blue the RSA horse from the yard?
It could be, yeah. So you're going to
He ran in one of those. Did he run behind Mossy Fen?
Might
I
have
think he did
one of the
in the Leamington Spa.
Leamington Spa, yeah. So again,
If we
that's
started now, we wouldn't beat Envoy Allen in the Marsh.
yeah, that's
Well,
true,
look,
yeah.
Listen,
Very true, yeah.
listen, he's got to get there first,
Yeah.
Barry. But he's pouring cold water on us. We're trying to get the drama in, Barry. What are you on about? You're sponsoring this show, man. What are you doing?
That is drama. You're a champion for seasons to come, if he says sound, Envoy Allen. And that'll be the stepping stone for him to the Gold Cup next year.
Let's concentrate on Envoy Allen then while you've brought him up. The unbeaten Envoy Allen, who jumped extremely well at Down Royal on his chasing debut. He's a bit of a breath taker away. Barry, I want to keep with you on this. All being well, he stays sound. He just wins?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, like he hasn't shown us anything to doubt him from career to date, has he? Really? The way he jumped the fence and Down Royal, and he was bought to win a Gold Cup. That's never been any secret made of that. He'll go to the Marsh. Gordon Elliott's already planned back from the Marsh Novice Chase at the festival with him. We'll probably see him in Ferryhouse in a couple of weeks' time. And from there on to Leopardstown at the Dublin Racing Festival, and then on to Cheltenham for the Marsh Novices Chase. And then all systems go for the Gold Cup the following season.
Very interesting, Mr. Bond. I think that I've just been getting out on the Thursday, of course, isn't it? The opening race on the Thursday when they go on to the new course. Envoy Allen, what price have you got him for the Marsh at the moment on the sportsbook, Barry?
2 to 1 at the moment.
2 to 1, which is bigger than a lot of other firms out there, I should say. Shishkin, we think he might be Arkle bound.
I assume so. He's got loads of pace.
But we don't quite know at this stage until they get out and show. I mean, one thing I was going to pull you up on there, Barry. We did the Betfair preview together in London earlier this year, but we all got locked down. And we weren't sure where he was still going to run some of his top novices there. He was playing with us a little bit, Gordon, wasn't he?
He was. There was even a suggestion that night that Envoy Allen might run the Champion Hurl. That wasn't 1,000,000 to 1 either. Sure, it wasn't. So he's made it very clear from a very early stage this season what he plan would be for Envoy Allen, and he's made no secret that the Marsh is his preferred race over 2.5 miles. and then they'll be stepping him up to 3 miles. He says he won't race him over 3 miles this season.
So my point being, and this is where it becomes very interesting, what would you rather win, an Arkle or a Marsh Chase?
Well, you want to win a
Arkle, isn't it?
All day long.
Yeah, you win an Arkle, but you remember
You
this
do
horse
a
is...
kicking king, don't you?
You're
Keep
not.
him to...
You're thinking Gold Cup next year, and you probably want to therefore. It's the same why you run a Novice Chaser over 2.5 in November when stepping up to three later on. They just want to keep this horse going for next year's Gold Cup.
If it looks, I mean, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that if he says Marsh and connections, and they're all on Marsh and Dave, and Dave Russell's saying you've got to go Marsh, then you can get into an easier rhythm jumping in the Marsh, of course. But the prestigiousness is the art.
But what will happen? I mean, Shishkin, if he dominates like he might in Britain over the winter, they will definitely keep the two of them apart. Absolutely no question.
We need Shishkin, therefore, to go for the Arkle, don't we, Matty? Because otherwise, and don't take this the wrong way, connections out there, but we've had Duke of Geneva and we've had Put the Kettle On in the Arkle in the last 2 years. Unless we have a superstar winner of the Arkle, which, in fairness, it needed to become more competitive. We had a couple of small fields, didn't we, and long odds-on favourites winning it. It has become more competitive. I don't know. All of a sudden, it's the Marsh becoming the novice race.
Well, you won't get Gold Cup horses running in the Arkle anymore. Envoy Island's evidence of that. And, your best mate ran in the Arkle. Kicking King ran in the Arkle. And they would now run in Marsh. If the and people have a go at the Ryanair for existing, but I think that's actually the Marsh that's maybe doing a little bit more damage because, Vautour, he'd have run in the Arkle. Had York Hill, when he was talented and didn't go mad, he'd have run in an Arkle.
Yes, we've got your back up here.
Yeah, so people can. I think the Ryanair is a great. People that I would fight people that take on the Ryanair, frankly. But the Marsh is actually probably doing more damage to the Arkle than the Ryanair is doing to the Gold Cup or Champion Chase.
Oh, you've got to love this open meeting, haven't you? Because we are talking about the festival in March as well. So look, we've shaken it up a little bit, but there look like there's a couple of hot pots along the way. Do we know when Shishkin's coming out?
Does Henderson know yet?
Well, it was never going to be this meeting, was it? It might be something. Would it be the Ascot? Simon Siggy takes the Ascot meeting, doesn't he? The Ascot. And the Amlin. Is it the Amlin? Is
there a novice on the Amlin meeting? On the Amlin
There
card?
is. Simon Sig goes and usually wins on the... I say goes and usually wins. He won on the Friday and then they took him straight to the race on the 27th.
Yeah. Oh, right, that one, yeah. The Wayward Lad.
The Wayward Lad. Thank you, Keith Melrose. And then they go and they freshen him up for the Arkle. He doesn't like to go to Cheltenham before a meeting with his chasers, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Mr. Henderson's going to have a bit to say about Envoy LN, then maybe losing his unbeaten record, but it's hard not to think that we've got another worldie in Envoy LN.
Oh, he'd say, as Barry said there, down royal. From a jockey's point of view, the way he jumped, it was just...
No, it was electric.
It was just mesmerising.
It's clever, I think. Ruby
clever.
Straight away afterwards, Ruby's such a good pundit to have, isn't he? Because straight away he doesn't have to think, he just tells you.
From a jockey's point of view, when you're watching racing, sort of going back when you used to turn in at Kempton and Kings and Desert Orchid, you see him take off. Like, it's a great spectacle and it's a great sight. But from a jockey's point of view, the hardest thing for a horse to do is to get into a bottom of an obstacle and get out quick the other side. And when you see what Envoy Allen done at Down Royal, he was like, that. It takes a bit of time to teach some horses that, but when they're that good from day one, you just can only get excited. If you're Davy Russell, you just absolutely licking your lips.
It was interesting to hear Walsh, because that was very much the sort of jockey Walsh was. Walsh used to let the horses jump. He very rarely made up their mind for them. So he's a man that can spot those sort of things more than even in terms of professional jockeys. So, and it was a horse that looked so adept already on its first run over fences. It was quite something. You don't see that very often.
From an anti-post point of view, Keith Mills, come to you, betting editor of Racing Post. We're talking about a 2-to-1 shot for March now. Yeah. A lot of people, I know some players that will happily back a 2-to-1 shot, thinking it will be like a Duvan or a Vator that will be going off really skinny, or indeed a Simon Sig in the Arkle. Is there any value in that 2-to-1?
It's really not my sort of bet. I'm probably not the man to ask, but can you see a situation where that horse turns up for the festival and isn't 4-6? Because if he's in a position where he's not 4-6, he's not running. That something's gone wrong if he's not 4-6 in the Marsh.
That's what you're betting against, basically.
Basically, You're trying to sort of, you're getting in early, taking the risk on him not getting there at all, or something happening in the interim. Because if that horse goes off 2-1 for the Marsh, you're thinking, what's going on? I remember it was a bit like when there was a Henderson horse that won the Triumph, and you thought, it drifted for some reason at the time, and I said, if you thought that was 4-1 after it, well, it's Peace & Co actually. If you thought that was going to be 7-2 the night before the Triumph, then when did Kingston Hill go hurdling? You know, it's one of these things that just, it can't not go off really short that if it makes it intact.
Are you interested in the 2-1 out there? Let us know. MYLN. Him and Shishkin, according to Keith Melrose, will be kept apart. Just a final word on this, Barry. Where's MYLN pitching up next? Do we know?
Yeah, I think you'll see him next in Ferryhouse in the Novice Chase there that Sam Crow felt the last year in.
What's that called again?
Oh, it's just slipped my mind at the moment. It's a very famous Novice Chase.
I want to say John Durkin, but it's
Drinmore?
not.
The Drinmore,
It's
yeah.
the Drinmore. There we are.
The Drinmore. Yes, that's a great one as well, isn't it?
It is a great one. It is a great one. We've got a social on the screen. Let's get back to business. Okay, what do we got? Finn O'Brien. Good to have you along, Finn. You're basically taking 2-1 that he'll be fit because he wins.
It's very similar to what we were just saying, isn't it? Because, you know, if he gets there,
Yeah.
he's going to be shorter than that.
If he gets there, he goes off odds on without a shadow of a doubt. He'd be the Irish banker at the festival just as he was last year. Or last season.
Can you
what
imagine
price
now
did
the
Vautour go off and what price did
Vautour, they kept opposing Vautour because I don't know what price he went off, but if he'd been 5-4, you know,
I was thinking if we had an odds-on shot in the Marsh so far.
have we had an odds-on shot in the Marsh? What's gone off really short for it? I mean, you don't tend to get real shorties in that race. You get real shorties in the Arco, but you don't get many real shorties in the Marsh so far.
It was the finish of the festival last year when it's Sam Crow.
Yeah, it was a really good finish between those two. And what I didn't like about it was how Sam Crow got rehabilitated off the back of it. You know, he won a head bobber against Mellon, and he's a gladiator. Whereas before he looked like a horse that had a bit of a hole in him, to be honest.
Unbelievable. It was one of the comebacks of the
It was
century,
a
wasn't it?
tremendous performance from him, but you know, it's what I'm saying is how narrative shapes things. Had that head bob gone another way,
This is what it takes to become the betting editor, you see, the race.
you've got to be a
See
real.
what you're saying off
You've
air
always
now.
got to find...
You've got to be. I got called the most miserable man in racing last month.
I don't know what you're talking about. Absolutely not whatsoever. Unbelievable scenes. Right then, the 3 o'clock's coming up. We've got 15 minutes to go. Let's hope you're enjoying yourself here on RP Live. We get some great feedback. Keep the social comments coming in. Myself, Dave Orton. We've got our own Ruby Walsh. Jersey's Ruby Walsh. Mattie.
Don't insult Ruby Walsh, dear, oh dear.
Betting editor Keith Melrose joins us, giving him all his pals. And from Dublin, we've got Barry Orr. And Barry Orr, shall we have a look at the market for the cross-country chase? This is one of the talked about races of the week. Why? Because Tiger Roll lines up again.
Yeah, it's a tried and tested route for Gordon Elliott, this, isn't it? But he's not favourite this time round. Easyland is the horse that beat him convincingly at the festival in March. Is 1-7-1 now. He was 2-1 on at one stage. Easyland, he's 1-7-1 now, which is just maybe 8-11, heading towards 4-6. Tiger Roll, bit of value of 5.8. There's only 3 of them in the handicap here, obviously in the handicap proper. That's the top 3 in the betting. So Easyland, 8-11. Around 9-2 Tiger Roll and Potter's Corner in there. Just nearly an 8-1 chance. It's a real head-scratching race for me. It's millions bar the top 3 in the market, and I just at the price you have to back Tiger Roll in that he's had his run.
Yes,
it's a race. It's a race that they've target with him, and I can't have Potter's Corner. I think he'll come on significantly for the run, and I'm not sure how fit they're going to have Easyland for this. Either. So for me, I just fall down on the side of Tiger Roll.
Let's get this trade on then before Keith waxes.
Well, I was going to say the alternative is a very similar idea, but I think Tiger Roll is probably the one I would be backing I've had to back. I think it's just a chance to lay Easysland, isn't it?
Well, okay, so let's get the back on of Tiger Roll. Let's get this on.
Okay.
If you don't mind, Keith. What's staking, Barry?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get any shorter than what he is, 5.5 at the moment. So I'm going to be a price maker here, Keith.
Okay.
So we're going to back him. But we're going to back him at around the 5.7 mark. Have 50 quid on him at 5.7. Now, that's going to go into the lay side because we want someone to come in and lay us that bet. It's not going to get matched immediately because the 2 offers are 5.5 back, 5.6 lay. And it's even 5.4 back now, 5.5 lay. But I'm happy enough at 5.7. Keep bet.
Keep bet.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And we are happy enough at that. So that we could, because we've kept that bet there, that can even go in play and we can still wait to get matched. But we'll reassess it as we take a more helicopter view of the market as we get nearer to post time.
But again, it's what we were saying earlier about horses you couldn't believe at this price. Had you gone back to February and said Tiger Roll was going to go off 9-2 for the November version of this cross-country race, you'd think what's happened in the meantime?
Yeah.
How many lengths has he got?
Yeah.
But we've
Well,
had
he was
this emerging
fourth in
Easysland.
this race in 2018 when Josie's Orders went in again, the great Josie's Orders. That looked like a case of needing the run, didn't it? And you thought to yourself, this looks like about the Grand National. They're just going to come over and just keep his eye in, of course.
It's very interesting that he's had a run coming into
It is,
this.
and on the flat, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We fell out, and it wasn't actually that bad a run, was it?
Racecourse Gallop, wasn't
You
it?
know,
under another
It's
name?
hard to move away from Easyland for what he's done. His form's there to see, for everyone to see. But with Potter's Corner, I know what Barry's saying it could be needing the run. Now, it's not a sort of... It's 3 mile 6. It's not a sort of race that you're going to give a horse a run if he needs it.
The virtual Grand National winner, of course.
The virtual Grand National winner.
That form's mustard.
I'll
Dan.
back
He's
the
getting nearly
second.
two.
I'll back the second, don't.
He's nearly getting 2 stone off of these two. Now Christian Williams, he's no idiot. He's very shrewd.
Oh, yeah.
To give a horse a run, I don't think you want to go 3 mile 6. Say, oh yeah, we're giving him a run.
And something really interesting you were telling us in the office when we were just, warming ourselves up for this. You've got to have had a school around, haven't you?
Yes, in years gone past, and I say it's the same now. If you want a horse to run in the cross country, you have to go up week before, 2 weeks before. There'll be the clerk of the course will probably be there, and he say, right, I want you to pick out 3 or 4 fences that he want you to jump to make sure that he sees the horse jump it okay, and then he said, right, you can qualify to run in it.
The master of the hunt, Simon
Any
Close.
concern with Jack Tudor riding it, Matty? A £5 claimer around here.
No,
Turns and everything goes with it. Like, I'd always like some of the more established jockeys riding in these cross-country races.
yeah, I know what you're saying, but it's for me. I've seen Jack ride now for a while. He's very capable. Christian Williams.
Oh, he's great. He's great, but he
great
is a,
jockey. Yeah,
but he
you're
is a
right.
£5 claimer.
It's good to have experience around there, and it does help because it is a lot different from your normal park track. So
Of course, amateurs used to win this race. I'll say used to.
Wow.
Patrick Mullins,
Yeah.
Nina Carberry.
It wasn't
Extremely experienced.
It wasn't Corinthian type amateurs, though, was it? It was very much amateurs.
well established.
Well established
In
amateurs.
name only.
Yes,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Well, of course, absolutely. But yeah, okay. So a young lad is what you're saying, Barry, and you might need to ride beyond years. Do you remember that year when Davy Russell?
Yeah. And I remember watching it on Betfair actually.
Took
and
everyone the wrong way.
You could back a winner who was about 3 lengths clear jumping last. You could back him at 8s.
Yeah.
Because everybody assumed he was going to get.
And Davy's
been
always
thrown out.
ridden in these races. One of the bigger names, like Dickie Johnson.
Yeah.
Doesn't give a monkeys, does he? Goes straight on and
Yeah,
get
he
me out.
don't, yeah.
Balthasar King, of course. And, all these great horses that we see in there. Listen, this is a really, really interesting cross-country case, isn't it?
But I was tell you what, I was thinking about something Mattie said there about the not giving a horse a hard race in the 3 mile 6 is not a place to give a horse a hard race. Remember the amount of horses that have trialled for a Grand National in this race?
Yeah.
Elliot does it all the
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Silver Birch, of
Silver
course.
Birch did it. He did
Go
exactly
back,
the same with
Tiger
Silver
Roll.
Birch. So maybe I think it's because they used to. I was of the impression they don't do it to quite the same extent. But
No.
it used to be dawdle around for 3 miles and then sprint for 6 furlongs. And it might not be that so much anymore. But it maybe isn't a race that takes a lot out of a horse.
I just think knowing Christian Williams,
Yeah, there's a
he would have
plan
got him
again,
ready to win this race.
Okay.
I don't think he would just bring him in here for a day. Knowing Christian the way he is,
Yeah.
I don't think.
That puts a slightly different tint on it for me because I mean, Welsh National decks aren't out yet. That's the weights aren't. Last year's, a winner, of course. He's not going to want too much more weight on his back, is he? And this is the back-to-back Welsh National winners. Christian being Welsh himself. That's got to be the ultimate, isn't it?
Well, he's got 151, and unless he wins by a wide margin.
You're talking Native River style, then, aren't you?
Well,
in
yeah,
that
you're going
race.
to talk, but I think Easysland and Tiger Roll are giving him loads of weight, and they are well known. Well, Easysland's maybe not so much, but he's got a very, very high mark. Whereas Tiger Roll we know how sort of good he is by now, and I don't see a situation in which Potter's Corner could get whacked with £8-9 for winning this.
But you don't like Easysland. This is your play in the race, isn't it?
I'm against Easysland here. I very much doubt he'll be fully ready for this.
What makes you say that?
Well, obviously his big target's March. He might yet be a Gold Cup horse. They still are entertaining that possibility.
Wow.
Tom Siegel likes him for the Gold Cup at a big price. And they might yet fancy it. And it is just part of it's maybe being a little bit stereotypical, but it's very much part of the culture in France to not have the horses like rearing first time up. They always, always, always come on for the first run. That's why, now I've got this from Scott Burton mostly, but that's why there's so many trials for classics in France on the flat.
Our French correspondent, of course.
Yeah,
Scotty.
and I said, why is that so? He says, because French trainers never get their horses fit first time up. They want to get a few runs into them first time up, and Easysland has big days on his agenda, potentially the biggest days.
Probably a chance then, the one Sam Twiston's on.
It could be. Now you've said that Sam Twiston Davies is quite hopeful on, or there's
he's
second hand. Anyway.
Vino Royale.
Vino Royale. He's agent's Chris Broad. A very good friend of mine works with Chris Broad, and obviously they take the calls. And when they rang up and said, "Who have you got?" and said, they said, like, this horse is not without a chance just because we've got Easyland in it. He's not without a chance. Who have you got?
And colours, aren't they?
Yeah, Sam Twiston Davis took the ride.
That's very interesting. Yeah, the Chris Stedman colours, of course, that we see carried by so many.
It's always Vinos, isn't it?
As well.
Vino, yeah.
It's always Vinos.
Vino
Griego.
Vino de Grigio, there's a name.
Gary Moore's that one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Gals,
So Potter's Corner is the headline selection. If
Potter's
you were riding
Corner's
one in the
for me,
race,
yeah.
that would be with you. And what would you do? Get them out?
I think.
Bearing in mind you only lasted till halfway. You don't have to think about that experience.
You need a compass and a map to go round here anyway.
A sat nav, absolutely.
If I was Jack June, I'd be following someone who's been round a few times.
That's your answer, Barry, isn't it? Oh, well, I'm just going to follow. I'm going to follow Jonathan Blugenham. What else do you think I'm doing? Absolutely not a bad ploy.
Just follow someone with Mister in front of his name.
Yeah, well, I do like Tiger Roll. And Barry, there seems to be a bit of love now. Was it too big, that 4-1?
Yeah, it looks like it. It's into now on the Betfair Exchange 183. Easyland just easing out to, and Tiger Roll just still around the 92 mark, or 5.5, just at the moment.
I know that he is. It's obvious saying the each way good thing. He just looked like. I know he's giving him weight, Easysland, but it could be incredibly hard to keep him out of the frame. If the Tiger Roll that turns up that won this in March a couple of years ago, I don't think the weight's going to make any difference. You remember Spot the Difference, and that used to lump loads of weight to decent horses in this race.
Absolutely. I mean, but none of them beat Easysland or equivalent. There's a lot more French horses coming across these days to tackle this race because, in France there's a much, much bigger diet of cross-country chases, and they're actually much more cross-country, shall we say. They're a lot. They make this look like Disneyland, to be honest, some of them.
The narrative is, of course, Keith, that they were level weights, of course, because this is the only handicap that's run in the cross-country season here at Cheltenham. He beat him by 17 lengths. He was the each-way good thing that day, wasn't he? A lot of people were like, this can't, 4-1, 3-1, the thieveries out there. Now the pressure's off Tiger, isn't it, a little bit?
A little bit, and, it's everybody knows there's only one race left in his career, effectively.
Yes.
And it's in April.
Indeed.
So there's no pressure today in November.
Becoming the third Grand National winner. Yeah, listen, it's absolutely fantastic, this race. We cannot wait for it. What are we? It's the 3 o'clock. What are we? Just looking at the clock. I say we're about 3 minutes away, but they look like they're taking their time to get down. We could just see Potter's Corner.
We have eventually been matched.
He looked well there. He looked tucked up, and I was thought to see there might be a little bit of condition on him, but he looked in good old order.
Well, it was interesting that while they were in the paddock, he contracted from 10 into about 8.5 on the machine. Yeah, so maybe people have seen what you've seen.
Let's talk about some of the others, chaps, if we can. The reason why I knew a little bit about that, having to have a pop round there, was because I saw on Phil Kirby's excellent Twitter feed, actually. He gives you loads of pictures of his work and stuff. He's in good form, Phil Kirby, as well at the moment. Tom Dowson takes away. Little Bruce, he was absolutely flying over them. He went down last month, I think.
Well, I know this horse quite well from the northern, just standard chase scene, and I thought he was a sort of horse that would take to this. He's a front runner type. Jumps really quite well, stays very, very well. I think he's the sort of horse that will take to this, and I think the way I put it in the paper was that he'll be probably the last of the others to disappear off the screen.
That's interesting. What about Kingswell Theatre, who of course won this a couple of years ago?
Yeah, he's miles out the weight, isn't he? And he's going to have a lot on to do that. The weight probably doesn't matter here quite as much as it does in some other races, but
it'd be interesting. It's interesting that
a bit quiet.
I know it's not Scoo's doing 10 stone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying he struggles to do 10 stone, but he'd do 10 stone for a reason. So for him to sort of
with the lack of saunas and that now.
Well, that's it. It makes it
down to 10 stone.
It makes it a lot harder. Like, you can get to the races. You can, if you get there early enough, you can shed 3 or 4 pound. So
it shows you how important this meeting is. The fact he's doing that, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Listen, Kingswell Theatre has a winner of the race. We've got 4 social media comments in. Let's get to them. The quartet of them. Who's top of the list? Sergeant Andy Dixon saluting with Tiger Roll. Aye, aye. The Tiger's going to roar. I think so as well. Michael Foley comes on. Potter's Corner. Going with Mattie Batch. What else we got there? Carl Fruing. Good to see Carl. Kingswell Theatre. There we are. and looks like a little horsey next to that one. And Liam Monaghan says, okay, happy to have a little each way play on little Bruce here. So many out the handicap here. Should have a bit in hand, those below him on the race card. So yeah, if you're looking at
they're all out the weights, but he's out the weights by less than a lot of them. He's about £9, I think.
What is he in the place market, Barry, Tiger Roll at the moment? Let's get that up, because surely a lot of people, you're saying it's
4 to
each way good
5,
thing.
roughly. Roughly 4 to 5.
That's pretty. I think that's pretty fair, isn't it? 4 to 5. I mean, all being well, he's got to be there or thereabouts. Like Mattie says, he's had that run under his belt on the flat. This was. If it was just all about the national team, surely he'd have come back and made his comeback in this again.
He is a hard one to see out the 3. Absolutely.
Well, people were underwhelmed with that comeback, weren't they? Because if you remember him over hurdles last year, it was a revelation, wasn't he? Winning graded novice staying hurdles first time out.
After that run, he should have won the Gold Cup, it looked like, didn't it?
A lot of people were screaming for that.
He won so well. Well, that's it. I mean, I'd hate this horse to be remembered for the Gold Cups he didn't run in. Because he's shown form that was good enough to actually take his chance.
Yeah.
So, he's won 2 nationals, so I'm sure that won't happen. But there was, on his day, he was Gold Cup standard. Might still be, but he's 10 now, and I would say odds are slightly against on that one.
Yeah.
He's tiny, Mattie, isn't he?
He's not big, yeah. I remember him winning a juvenile hurdle at Market Raisin.
Were you in that race?
No. Nigel Hawke and...
Where were you?
Yeah.
Jersey.
Cheltenham.
Fantastic, yes.
Doing a bit of shopping, great racing.
Thomas Pink.
Thomas Pink, yeah.
Absolutely.
No, he won a juvenile hurdle at Market Raisin. Then Nigel, if you looked at him, he never looked like a chaser. And Nigel said, well, he's not going to jump a fence, he's too small. And he sold him. It was good business at the time.
And what's happened in history? And Barry, how good was that film, Tiger Roll, at the Betfair commissioned?
Yeah, we had that made ahead of the aborted bid for a third Grand National, but yeah, it was really good, high quality production and we went down to Nigel Hawkes and spoke to him, and what a fascinating character. But like Mattie says, at the time he was getting, I think he got maybe 70 or 80 grand for Tiger Roll, and says
it's good business.
It was good business for him, yeah, and he was happy to let it go. But he still has the brass plaque on the stable where he was housed in his yard down there, and he's very proud that he was a part of the story of the Tiger Roll story, and rightly so.
Yeah, check out that film.
Has he still got the cat, or did that go?
Okay, we're off. Kingswell Theatre goes straight into the lead.
So he's gone off.
The commentators roll again. They're going a right old lick here. Tom Scudamore's got the cavalry behind him, and he's gone off. Little Bruce had a bit of a look.
He's basically nicked half a dozen lengths there, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
In a 2 mile race round Market Raisin, that would matter.
I'll tell you what, they've gone off like a scolded cat. Oh my goodness, we can see empty stands in the background for the first time. The camera pans round with what we can see. Oh, what a sad sight that is. But okay, Kingswell Theatre pops up nice and just looking for the big players then. Bros to Brise, he's in third at the moment.
King's Temptation, who, to be honest, I'm surprised got out through that trial. He's not a good jumper of regulation fences particularly. He's pulling his way out the back.
Harsh, isn't it?
He's not a great jumper.
He racked up a hat-trick, didn't he?
You get bad jumpers that can win, can't you?
I don't know about that, kid. I think that's a little bit harsh. Vino Royale, first time tongue tie, Sam Twister Davis, stablemate of Easysland, right out the back with indeed Kingswell, not Kingswell.
Beau de Brise is quite keen now.
Yeah,
He's a 3 mile horse. He's pretty strong travelling 3 miler as well. So
where's the Tiger?
He is near the back now, actually.
Yeah, they were up. So,
Easysland.
I'll tell you what, Jonathan Plugano called the cab there, did the old Jacques
it was.
Magoo, didn't he?
Hand in the air.
Absolutely over that one. So we've got a right spread out field here. As Keith said, they used to just amble round in this for the best part of 4 miles and sprint from 2 out. Not this time. This is really going to expose. I'll tell you what, it's jumping well. Barry, what's the market saying on Easysland?
I think has the saddle gone a little bit, because he was quite low there for a bit.
He's even money now. Easysland.
No, it's all right. I'll read that up.
8 to 1 to 1 in front. Mattie, how would you feel about tracking like a young guy in Jack Tudor around a course that he's never ridden on before?
I wouldn't.
They take the wrong turns.
That's right. Yeah, I'd say.
Is that what you did on your only ride?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, you've seen it before. You look for experienced riders that have gone round there and follow them. And I actually fell off on the flat.
Of course,
I wasn't even having an obstacle.
Of course, the saddle slip. Well, just going over the gate then. Okay, goodness knows how long.
I think Jack Tudor's following Robbie Power on Tiger Row. The horse knows where he's going, even if the jockey doesn't.
Robbie, of course, as well, isn't it? I was looking. I think he's got something like an 18% strike rate.
Well, he's had one, arguably Elliot's biggest day of all.
Over the hedge they go. So
Robbie
pretty
Power
much
was
in the
on.
order. Kingswell Theatre steadied it down slightly, but he has stolen the march, hasn't he? Beau de Brise, Michael Nolan, Philip Hobbs. Philip Hobbs, great record over these fences with his runners. Little Bruce, better. He's tiny Little Bruce, and you see why he's absolutely called that. But like I say, flew over them in that VT I saw when he had the school. But how's he getting over this one? They're going over the gate. Okay, all fine. Easysland. Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's not jumping at all, Easysland. What about Tiger Roll? What's the market saying? You said he was out to 5-1. Has he got any bigger than national winner?
Tiger Roll's
He's
big
14 to
price.
1
Yeah,
there,
he's
Tiger
14 on the
Roll.
machine.
14-1. What race is everyone watching here?
I was looking for him to fall at the edge there, to be honest, given what I've just seen.
Yeah.
But I know it's Easysland who's
That's
been...
a massive overreaction, that, Barry, isn't it? 14-1, surely.
Yeah, it looks to be, yeah, for sure. I suppose all the horses in front are the horses that are out of the handicap. Easyland getting a bit better.
Oh,
there.
no, he's
Tiger
balked
Roll's
there.
not really warming to it.
No,
He's
he's
balked
not.
there.
You don't fancy it at the minute. Could he be getting a little bit cuter? Puppy Power not happy with him. Just shaking him a bit. He went over the bank there. He should be fine over that.
What happens if he runs like a total drain here? You know, remembering the horse will be a liver in a few weeks.
Well, we'll get to that afterwards. He's still got time. I want to say Vino Grigio, but it's Vino right out the back under Sam Twisters. He's going to come with a rattle. Easysland is now warming up, Barry. That even money gone?
Yeah, he's in the
Shorter
6
than
4
ever.
on now, 166.
But when you've got Tiger, when your second favourite's out to 15, 16 to 1 on the machine, then you're going to start shorten up, aren't you?
Yeah, should give a mention to Vivas. He's
Oh,
jumped
King's
quite
Temptation
well.
nearly came off in the flat there.
All right,
He wasn't jumping
bragging
anything.
rights on the King's Temptation there. He did make a terrible mistake
By
there.
default, he wouldn't jump
I don't
anything.
know, the back markers are going to need to concertina at some stage, guys.
Jack
Mattie
Tudor's
back.
head-
Potter's Corner does not
he's
look
following
like he's enjoying
everything.
it that really
He's right
that
out the
much.
back, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an experiment that's not going too well for him at the minute. The Welsh national winner. All about Chepstow, we possibly think in December. So,
To be honest, if you're playing each way on your horse's miles out the weight, you might be starting to get excited because you've got two of the big three
Yeah.
aren't having their best of times out there, are
Yeah.
they? So,
I mean,
you know, if you're
Easysland
taking
now
little,
cruising into
we've got people who've
contention.
Yeah.
taken Kingswell Theatre, people who've taken Little Bruce. They might start to just get a little bit excited, I think.
What we know from the social media comments, lots of you out there have taken a chance in this race. Kingswell Theatre didn't take the bank too well. Tiger
King's
Roll,
Temptation
again,
definitely did not.
popped it, didn't he? Not great. Easysland now right breathing down the
Nothing's
leader's
loving.
next.
Nothing's
Little
loving
Bruce
this more
in
than Little
second.
Bruce. Nothing's loving this more than Little Bruce.
He's an absolute pocket.
He's a
rocket,
lovely little horse,
Bruce.
isn't he?
Come on, the Brucey. What have you got in there? What prices have we got then as we go? Probably it's only halfway, Barry Orr.
Choose on Easyland. Tiger Roll out to 25 to 1 and Potter's Corner out to 25 to 1. The short
Tiger
reserve
Roll
vote,
is not
Messi
happening.
and,
25 to 1.
Vino
Oh, he's
Royale
pulling himself
is coming
up.
for a bit
Yeah.
of support with
Yeah, he
Sam
looks
Twist.
like he might be. I'll tell you what.
The horse has pulled himself
Is this
up.
a P next to his name? I'll tell you what. If you've gone against,
Yeah, he's not
the
jumping
Tiger,
that one, he's not
I think
jumping
he's
it.
going to call it a day, isn't he, Robbie
Oh.
Powell? Looking out the
They
back.
put it
I'd
up
say
now.
he'll pull him
Yeah,
out
he's
between
pulled him
these
up
two.
now.
Yeah.
He's pulling him up now. The Tiger money, I'm afraid, in the bookies' satchels there. If you were with him, so is this Easysland's race now, chaps?
Well, he's only got one horse that's in the weights, and
Yes,
that
it is.
horse is hating it. So yeah, it's his to lose.
Okay. What about
I
the
tell you,
stable,
he's
mate?
enjoying it. King's Temptation.
He's made a few mistakes along the way, but he's
travelling,
travelled
he's just
now.
warming to it.
He has picked up a
According
bit,
to the
hasn't
betting,
he?
the only danger to Easyland is a stable companion
Yes.
that STD rides.
Vino Royale. He's not gone for the 5-year-old yet whatsoever. Interesting at the Cotton Yard what the lads might be saying.
Beau de
to
Brise
each
is
other.
still pulling.
Yeah, but Beau de Brise wasn't so good there. I haven't over the moon with
Potter's
Easyland's jumping though.
Vivas, who's an absolute rag, is actually having a bit of fun out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlie Longston took out the first race of the meeting before we came on air. Potter's Corner warming up a bit now, Matty Batch.
Warming up a little bit, yeah.
I think if you're on him for the Welsh National Repeat, this is what you want to see, a running on place at least.
I think they
imagine.
have steadied it up, haven't they? Because the
Yeah.
field has come together a little bit.
Kingswell Theatre now back in the lead. The course and distance winner from 2 years ago. He's had a bit of a... I'll tell you what, he will take a lot of beating for a place, I would imagine. Little Bruce is shaking at the reins now. Beau de Brise still not totally done with.
What you tend to find with this race is very, very few get into it. So a horse like Kingswell Theatre that's gone out and had and just got a bit of space out in front won't find many getting past if he sees it out, which he should. He's a course and distance winner.
I'll tell you what,
Klugen
they need to
again
start
was at
doing
the buckle
again,
end,
they need to
wasn't
start
he?
putting the number of fences up, don't they? Because I literally couldn't tell you whether we were about to turn
No.
in or
Well,
whether
is
we've got
this
another
in-
10 miles to go.
Once they jump entry the second time, the start, that's when
Yeah.
they're getting quite near the end then. That's what I know.
We'll look out for the entry fence and signal
They've
it to
passed
you.
halfway, so I'm lost.
Matty's looking for that old riding hat of his.
Little Bruce has dropped the bridle. Potter's
I tell you
Corner has
what, Potter's
picked it
Corner.
up.
Potter's
He's
Corner.
right on the tail of Easy's Lands now.
Have
Let's
Jack
go for a
Tudor
final
and
market
Tom Dowson
from Barry
just-
Orr.
Jumped 32 by the look of it. Evens Easyland out to 9-4 now. Easyland.
Oh,
Potter's Corner's coming in for good support. Did the 7-2.
Absolutely cruising, and for the first time, Mattie Batchelor's getting a little bit animated in the run. Potter's Corner here, Jack Tudor, who couldn't possibly get round, according to Barry Orr. Too young, he's riding way above himself. Easyland's in
Barry Orr said he was useless.
Oh, he's called a cab there himself. Are the leaders gone here? I tell you what, Potter's Corner is Easyland's gone, guys, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's not winning this.
He can't win.
Vivas travels, Bodo Breezy travels.
Or is this the last? I really couldn't possibly tell you, but they're over it. Kingswell Theatre's there. Vivas absolutely loving life, trying to come between horses.
Bodo Breezy is
under Michael Nolan. They're turning in. They've got one more to jump.
Kingswell Theatre will find more than Bodo Breezy. Kingswell Theatre outstays him.
We are looking at a turn up in the cross country in Kingswell Theatre. Tommy Skoo got down to 10 stone for this. Come on, Tommy Skoo.
Might get more tired than the horse.
Potter's Corner's absolutely flying. Bodo Breezy looks done within second. Vivas. Can he get up and running? He's paddling Kingswell Theatre. Here, come on, the old Potter.
He's having a good old go.
Jack Tudor's giving him everything but
You're
Kingswell Theatre. It's mayhem in the studio. Unbelievable scenes. Tom Scudamore, will he celebrate? He absolutely loves it. Family success. Yes, he does.
Only a little one's got no energy.
In second.
He's more tired than the horse.
Lift his arm.
Potter's Corner run an absolute stormer, and if you think that's a Gold Cup horse in fourth, we might need to revisit that on Easysland. Well done to you, Keith Melrose. You didn't fancy him. Oh, I tell you what, if you don't like cross-country racing, what on earth is wrong with you? That was an absolute hoot.
I tell you who does love cross-country racing, Kingswell Theatre. That was lovely to watch, wasn't it?
Way out of the handicap, but as you mentioned before, it's a weird discipline, isn't it? Horses get marks in this, official marks that they wouldn't carry on a normal park track.
Yeah, and it's just been a bit of a blowout here all over, and once the big three, well, two of the big three haven't turned up at all. Potter's Corner sort of just about fancied it in the end, but gave himself a lot to do.
Giving a peach of a ride.
By
we got Barry on his
Greenhorn Jack Tudor, by Tiddly Baby Jack Tudor that doesn't know which way to go round.
He's warm to it.
Here, they're your words, not mine.
I tell you what, you were the one casting
I'm in enough trouble
listen.
in that yard after saying the horse that finished third in the Badger's Beer. When he learns to jump, he'll be some tool.
Kitty's Light. Kitty, the monster 4-year-old that is Kitty's Light. Tell you what, Barry, you won't be a Christmas card coming from.
Listen,
but Jack Tudor, the thing is, on a more serious note with Jack Tudor, inexperienced around the track, but he's one of the best £5 claimers going.
Oh, he's
just a fantastic little jockey, isn't he?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
You're coming back. You're coming back, Barry. Okay, so the first.
That's a great run for the Welsh National. That was.
There.
A cracking run for the Welsh National.
Barry
gets a quote of 50.
All of a sudden, he wants a stable tour, doesn't he?
Barry, Jack Tudor reminds me a bit like Fitzgerald. Very strong in the finish.
Of who?
Mick Fitzgerald.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Young Mick Fitzgerald.
Young Mick Fitzgerald. Yeah.
You know better than me, man.
Not as loud as Mick, but.
Barry thought it was David Maxwell, didn't he?
Yeah, David Maxwell before the cross country.
The great Corinthian that is David Maxwell, of course. So listen, let's talk about that race. The story of it was, of course, Tiger Roll pulling up. A quick debrief. Keith Melrose, what on earth are we going to do with him now?
Well, you'll find out soon enough. I mean, I wouldn't be absolutely bowled over if they decide to draw stumps there and then, because that was a horror.
Yeah.
That was a shocker of a run. As I say, if you get, I wouldn't be taking evens, but nor would I be absolutely bowled over if they decide to say, no, that's that.
Oh, man, unbelievable scenes.
It's that
real-time analysis here.
It's that sort of run. If you don't find anything, you're scratching your head. And then, as Keith said, will it be curtains? Or if you come out and think, oh, something's happened, he's done this, he's done that, you almost want to find...
You had no worries about him going into the race mentally about how he would handle the banks, etc.
He's run to 170 round there. For goodness sake, to claim that the track's gone against him is just a non-starter.
We're talking about a horse who began as a Triumph winner.
Well, he's had more comebacks than Sinatra, this horse as well, because
got that in,
when he
not even Mattie Batch would go there.
I know it's
Who?
Ruby Walsh.
I don't know who Sinatra is. I'm a bit old. Too young.
But he was when he won the Triumph Hurdle and came back the next year. His head went, and they brought him back from that. And the horse has had a lot. He's got a lot of miles on the clock. This horse.
Oh, Barry, can I come to you for an anti-post Grand National prize? Dare I do that? Give you
No,
time?
we quoted 50 to 1 for the winner for the cross country at the next year at the festival in 2021. I suppose the big story in the race, Easysland traded a low 1.40 when he looked like he was getting into contention, and Tiger Roll had pulled up at that stage. Vivas traded at a low of nearly even money, 2.2. Beau de Brazil, the same, 2.04. Tiger Roll hit a low of 3 to 1 at one stage as well. So yeah, plenty of in-running action there. The winner at BSP at 29.
I thought the 14 to 1 when he was at the back was a big overreaction. There's a lot of burnt fingers all the way along there. Easysland as well. What are they going to do with him now then?
It'd be interesting what you said. You said a lot of the French horses have needed a run.
So we shouldn't be too down on him, perhaps.
Oh, he looked like a horse that needed the run. He's travelled into the race,
Made loads of mistakes.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden just out like...
The French style of calling the cabin with Jacques Ricoeur.
Oh, they love a wave, don't they?
Yeah. But I think that's what it'll be. That was why I was...
The Novice Chaser, I really ought to
Black
know.
colours, Orit.
Yeah, he was just a top-notcher, wasn't he?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
On the Peterborough round.
Yeah, it was Gere de Cochet.
Gere de Cochet.
One at Kempton, didn't
Beat
he?
Best Mate. I remember him beating Best Mate in the Peterborough.
That was, It was just a fantastic horse. And Jacques Ricoeur used to come over and literally...
Wave
call
to
the
everyone.
cab, they call it absolute wave to the cab, yeah, very much. Basically one-handed over every fence, something like it was, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, so that, I think that was a big part of the basis for opposing him today. I just think he was always going to come on for it, and he did shape like a horse.
Do you think he's going to stick down that route then, if you had to call it?
Yeah, they'll maybe bring him back in December and he'll win that, and then I'll give him a spin at Compiègne or whatever in February, and then bring him back for
March.
You've seen worse 50 to 1 shots though, haven't you? Bearing in mind he's just, from a handicapping point of view, he would have carried 8-10 rather than the 10 stone if the handicap was proper. So he's way out. He's an 11-year-old, but he just loves it there, doesn't he? Getting out in front.
It is. I wouldn't be rushing to take the 50s, but it is half the battle around there to love the course and to be.
You wouldn't have any problems with lining up as a 20 to 1 shot, would you?
No, that's it. So he's 11 and he needs to get there a little bit as well, but he's 50 to 1, and as I say, that when it comes to March, you'll be looking for horses like him that have a loads to find on form, but have a real affinity with the track. And I wouldn't be taking it now, but he's a sort of horse you'll look down the field and think about.
And Beau de Brise is in second. Let's give a word of him. Philip Hobbs, mine-head master, isn't he, at this? The horse has looked out of love with winning, basically, on park tracks.
Well, that's what he's done with a few of these you can name, Balthazar King, and he sort of rejuvenates them and they come back and they run well. And like Skoo, give credit to Skoo there, he's got that horse out in front, he's set a good pace, he's steadied it up. It's all knowing the times, he's steadied up and he's gone again at the end. So it's a great ride.
Who'd have said the one jockey that we've seen in all the 3 races so far would be the one to be able to dictate to a massive extent was the one in the cross country?
Yeah,
you wouldn't have thought so, would you?
We've got a quote coming in. You get this on your members section. Look for your race analysis. Look in the reports. You'll see it. Puppy Power has come out. Robbie Power with a quote. Who's never travelling and never had a cut at his fences. I pulled him up as in no sort of rhythm. He didn't mention he didn't fancy it. I mean, he was just never travelling. I suppose maybe that's a jockey's way of saying that, Mattie, is it?
Yeah.
Well, we know the horse had an injury last season, didn't it? That held him up, and I think Gordon Elliott, wasn't too upset that they didn't run Aintree this year. He thought it gave the horse an extended break that he probably needed. He felt his preparation was a bit rushed last year to get him to the cross country. So maybe that's raised its head again, that bit of a knock that he took last season.
Yeah,
hopefully not.
A worrying drama then. Unbelievable scenes at the open meeting. Tiger Roll, what did you make of it, of course? Do look at your members club. Just a nod to the members club, actually. We've got a race offer for you, actually. If you're not a member and you want to join the club, you can get 50% off your first 3 months with a code RACE50, RACE50. Some offer that, I can tell you that much.
And some tremendous news for Members Club this week as well, actually, because we've finally got Paul Keeley's amazing Weekender column on the website. I'm delighted to see it. I've been beating the drum for ages to get it to happen, and now it's there. His record there is absolutely fantastic.
Radical reform from Melrose in the.
I got a print column on our website, but still, for punters, it's Keel's strike rate and profit on that is phenomenal, and so it's. People can actually read it now on the site, which is great.
That's one of our weeklies, of course, the weekend. Paul, if you know him, he spends all his Monday nights. I mean, he must be.
He spends all his nights generally.
Monday night in particular, he looks at the weekend, and that's where a lot of them go by the wayside, but some of them go in at really juicy prices, don't they?
And he knows how to play. There is a certain mindset to that sort of punting, and Keels really has it.
Yeah, you've got to live and breathe it, and we know that Keels does. Paul Keeley will be here with you on Sunday with Bruce Millington. That's the team. Tomorrow we've got Tony Ennis, of course, commentator coming in, joining myself and Keith as well. Mattie Batchelor's been here with us on the Friday. Countryside Dave, been enjoying it?
Yeah, loving it. Yeah, good.
Yeah, you're doing a good job pretending otherwise. So, yeah.
I've always been a good blagger. Yeah. I've blagged a 20-year career at racing.
Absolutely. Just ask the Bradstocks.
Just ask the Bradstocks.
Yeah, no, happy days. You're enjoying it? We'll have you back.
Oh, I'd love to come back.
It's a bit of fun, isn't it?
Absolutely. I love a bit of fun.
Learning a bit about the exchange as well.
That's it, learn a bit about the exchange. Might open an account.
In Jersey.
In Jersey, offshore.
Jersey champion jockey, of course, we have here. If you want any questions for Mattie, get them in. Social media along the way. We've got one more race to go on the Friday. Really interesting novice hurdle. I think we can move on now from the cross country. Ooh, that absorbing cross-country chase. This is over 2 mile 5. It is the old Ballymore novice hurdle. It's a grade 2, registered as a Hyde novice hurdle, and we have got a hot pot, Barry Orr, in the 335.
We certainly do, yeah. It's the top of the sheet in the 335, the 2 mile 5 novice hurdle. At the moment, 2.50. Does he know? David Bass for Kim Bailey, the yard in good form. 11-4 Grand Mogul. 3.65, 10.5 the Ascot winner Grand Vizier. It's 12-1 bar. The one I like in it, it's a bit of a chancy one, but I'm going to take it. Just the price is going to sway me at around the 16-1 mark. Wild Romance for Harry Skelton and Mare getting the £7 allowance. I just really impressed with her the way she won last day, and I think it's interesting that Harry Skelton or that the Skeltons are automatically straight away thrown her in against the males. They obviously think quite highly of her, and I don't think she's going to disgrace herself here. What I'm going to do, though, Keith, I'm going to have £25 in the win, and we'll be the price taker and take 17.5, and then we're going to go to the place market where it's paying 3 places. Standard place market here is 2 places because there's only 7 runners. I'm going to go to 3 places, which is an additional place market on the Betfair Exchange offer, and it's 3.65 on that. We're going to take 25 quid at 3.65 in the place market, 3 places to cover ourselves there. That mightn't be matched automatically. It'll go over into the other side, and we'll wait for someone to come in and lay us that bet. But I'm confident that will be laid.
It's already been laid,
so,
Barry.
You're on, Barry.
Well, there you go.
You're on. Done.
Well done, Keith. You're the fastest fingers in the racing post. Thanks for that.
There's something that you didn't know.
Well, certainly didn't know. No, it's probably it's nonsense. Yeah.
It's usually Bruce that does the trading on this show. So when he's not in, Keith steps in.
It's also usually Bruce that does the swearing, actually.
But actually, this trading, how's it going? Are you an adept Betfairian?
I've been using Betfair for 15 years. Really. I mean, I'm not much of an in-play punter.
Why is that?
Because I'm usually watching it on telly, and I know I'm on delay. I did it a few times on the track.
Nothing to do with emotion.
Probably a bit of that too, to be honest. But I used to put in a lot of in running leads, but before the race, so I would back horses that I knew would trade short in the run, and I'd back them to win, and then put in an in running lay and hope that would get matched. And I had an awful habit of not quite getting matched, right? Because you can always obviously check in running lows and whatnot afterwards, and see how low they did go, and I found a few times that I just missed out on. And it's an interesting little thing. It's not just, this horse will trade shorter, it's how much shorter sometimes, and you have to just find, it's another element to punting, just finding that spot that they'll hit.
The in-running punting world, you mentioned on tracks there, and Barry will know more about this than any of us, I'm sure. It's a fascinating world, isn't it?
Well, I speak to guys
that screenplay about it. Get a character who gets into his world. Honestly, it is a different world.
It is.
All these drones, everything
it's
that goes
very
on.
different. Even when Betfair started, anybody who was on the track, I'm surprised they haven't all retired to Caribbean islands. The stories they tell me what they could do in the early days, but it's far more sophisticated now. It's a very, very competitive market, which is why I sort of sit out and judge how I, not reading a race live, but judge my prior knowledge of the horses. And that's why I put in the running lays, just to see how and let it roll with how the race pans out. Yeah. Because I'm not committed. If the horse runs like Tiger Roll did, I'm not committed to anything. But I've decided that these horses are the ones that will trade short, and I tend to do it that way rather than go in running. I know guys that do play in running. It's a different mindset to what I've got.
So if you were playing pre-race, which I'm assuming you are doing in this, what is the winner of the Old Ballymore?
Well, if I was going to look for an in-play take in this one, I'd actually probably try and Does he knows the horse I fancy to win this race?
Same as me. I'll get that in now.
But I think this race, again, like the Novice chase we had, it's a race that tends to get won by stairs. Time Hill won it last year. You've got horses like Coney Gree. Got Fingal Bay in there. He won this race.
That possible improver in the race.
Batchelor, do you know him?
No.
Is it any relation of yours? So that's the sort of horse that tends to win these races. Does he know is very much that type of horse. I think he is a horse that will finish strongly. I think he'll get bigger in the run, actually, even if he does win. So while I would probably back him beforehand, if I was looking for an in-running play, put in 2-1, a bit more than 2-1, and hope to get matched on that.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so it's does he know for myself and Keith as well. I didn't detect much confidence when I spoke to the Hendo camp about Grand Mogul, who comes there. Before we have a word on him, Matty Batch, where are you looking?
Grand Mogul for me, he's too keen. I just don't think does he know? He jumps, he stays, and that's what you want to win this sort of race. Grand Mogul for me is too keen. He just runs with the choke out. I do like the twisting horse, Ballymilsey. He's bumper form. He was fourth in a bumper. Booth Hill won it, Harry Fry's, and I know they think a lot of that horse. The second and third have come out again. And he finished Lingfield behind three under 5 that won yesterday as well.
Yes.
So that's won its last 2. So that's very good form. And again, going back, I know the other twisting horse didn't run as great as we thought, but they were under a bit of a cloud. They wasn't well. This is all right, this horse, Ballymilsey. It's a shame they went 7 runners for each way free.
Yeah.
But does he know, as you say, he's everything that you want in this type of race. He jumps.
He looked to stay in that bumper at Kempton, didn't he? And he made smooth headway before he just flattened out a little bit. Yeah, he is interesting. I'm just seeing what the record of 4-year-olds in this race is. Actually,
can't see any winners recently.
11 have run and 2 have placed only. Tristan Davis's record in the race. He's had actually no winners in the last 10 years, but actually 50% of places as well. So he could well be one to shake up the favourite. They could have gone to an easier race, I suppose, couldn't they? Quite an easier race. He would have been a favourite for a lot of novice hurdles, I think, on some of the smaller tracks, Keith.
Would have been. The Twiston Davies style is generally quite adventurous.
Mossy Fen, etc.
Well, exactly. They run the novices here early in the season. It's just always been his style, really.
It's 10 minutes down the road.
Oh, exactly. Right. He sends the horses off
Save
himself.
on the fuel.
Yeah,
that's why I love
quicker
Plumpton.
Back to the hollow bottom.
That's why I love Plumpton.
Is that right? You do love Plumpton as well.
That's a track I wanted to speak to you about, actually. That's a tricky little track to jump around, isn't it?
Plumpton, yeah.
Because of the way the fences are set. We were talking about downhill fences earlier. The downhill fence in the start of the back straight, that's taken downhill, isn't it? And then there's 2 at the bottom of the hill. I've never actually been.
Yeah.
Haven't you?
No, never been to Plumpton.
Oh, you've missed out.
Oh, so I hear. Everybody tells me it's lovely.
The second one down here just levels out a little bit.
Yeah, and they're quite close together, aren't they? There's about 10 strides.
And they're on the inside now. They used to be on the outside, the fences.
Hold-up horses don't tend to win many races around there, do they?
It's a speed track, they whiz round, don't they?
Chicaning down that hill.
I rode for a trainer years ago, and there was a pipe horse in it, and it wasn't a great jumper. And his instructions to me was, stick with him down the hill. You know yours jumps for fun. Test his jumping. And we put his jumper under pressure, and he hit a few down the back, and that's what won us the race.
It's a good place to get one at it, but basically you need a clean jumper there. That's quite interesting, isn't it? It's the bonus track, of course, Plumpton, isn't it? The novice chases, and I don't know if they do it with the hurdles as well. I think it's just novice chases.
Released another link to Coney Gree, that. Remember that?
Oh,
incident? Yeah, where he got withdrawn at the
I
start.
knew the vet.
Unbelievable scenes. I do remember that now.
I bet you know the vet, Mattie.
Yeah, it's a local lad.
Give him a lift that day.
I dropped him off.
Oh, fantastic. Takes me to Jersey and everything. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. When he's down, he stays in the spare room.
Lovely. And he just said, look, no, you're not having this.
Yeah. Plumpton, there we go. We're talking about Plumpton. Actually, we mentioned this to Keeley as well. Keely's getting a lot of mentions on the show, rightly so. He said that's the one track that he's missing most, because it's a real race goers track,
Plumpton.
isn't it?
Yeah, because everybody tells me, go to Plumpton, and I've never lived any further south than Huddersfield. So
we're going to feel it, aren't we, this winter, guys? The lack of no fans. I know we've had the narrative of the flat season, and people weren't able to go to Royal Ascot, Goodwood's. Unfortunately, it was called off, wasn't it? We had a little bit of St Ledger action, but
it's next week. I'm going to miss the most. It was my one day out as a fan every year. Was always Betfair Chase.
Yeah, Barry, your big day next Saturday. You must be excited about that. We'll be covering that next weekend.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That'll be my first race meeting I'll have been at since the 13th of March last year. So, yeah, can't wait to get on course. And
No way.
another Betfair Chase.
They're letting you out.
As sponsors, yeah. We're allowed to attend as sponsors.
You've got the pass. You're going to have to get down to Barbers, Barry. I don't know. It's grown a little bit, that hair. I know you. You're usually a slick operator. There it is. You must be extremely excited about that then, Barry. Come on. And who are we expecting to head up the market in a minute? Lost in translation?
Lost in translation and Bristol de Meyer heading the market at the moment, yeah. So, they fought it out last year. They'll fight it out again this year. I would imagine Paul Nicholls' horse is in there as well, playing his oboe. Will be interesting to see how he gets on.
I tell you what we'd love to do next Saturday then, Barry, and the viewers will love it as well. Let's try and get a phone in when you're at the track, shall we? And we'll try and get you on the show, shall we?
Happily, yeah, no problem at all.
You can give us the ins and outs of what's going down with all the connections. That'd be great. Try and get the guys from the gallery going. That's not on the schedule. They're talented chaps, don't you worry about it. Better than they are punters, that's for sure. OK, so what sort of price is this going to go off? Does he know, Barry Orr?
Yeah, currently 2.40, very strong at that 320,000 match so far on this race. So 11-8, does he know? Grand Mogul, relatively weak out to about the 7-2 mark. The Grand Vizier is 12. Polish has come in for a bit of support, is 9.2 now, which is just 8-1 for Paddy Brennan. That has been traded as big as 16 at one stage in this market.
Yeah, I don't like Polish. Yeah, sometimes you just don't like horses. He's let me down. He has. I thought when he won at Ludlow and then he got beaten at Kempton when he was fourth, he had valid excuse at Kempton. I thought, I didn't blame Paddy for that. I should say that I'm one of Paddy Brennan's biggest fans out there. And he has let me down a bit since then. Paul Keeley likes this chap, doesn't he? He's given a nod to him in his Sizzlers, Keith.
Yeah, he does like this horse. It's another one that... just one of the ones that's come off the flat. I think
Roger Charlton.
Yeah, it was Roger Charlton. The flat wasn't it? So, I didn't look at this race particularly as a punter so much. I was previewing it. You sort of take a very slightly dispassionate view when you're sort of analysing a race, and it is a race that tends to be won by these horses that are going upwards and trip rather than down. And this thing has come off the flat. And
same as Grand Vizier, of course.
Grand Vizier. That has already tried hurdling, and didn't really take to it.
Tom Seagal's pick.
Tom Seagal's put up, yeah. Which is interesting. That I thought Tom would be the sort of person to balk at it. Now, it'd be an interesting one to ask Mattie here, actually, because if a horse has tried hurdling and not liked it, they have a little break and they come back, what would you think? Would they say, I want you to ride this horse, Mattie? Rated 100 on the flat, but it hated hurdling the first time. What do you say?
I'd say yes, because it's been round Cheltenham.
Yeah, let me at it.
I ain't been round there for a while. Listen, Robbie's probably been in there, schooled it. It's funny, I went to ride a horse at Plumpton one day, and another fellow jockey came to me. He said, "Have you schooled that?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you wouldn't catch me riding that again." I said, "Really?" I said, I'd school him over fences, and I'm riding him over fences. So it could be a number of things. He could have had little niggling problems. Mm-hmm. They've gone back to the drawing board. Robbie's probably been down there. He would have schooled it, Robbie.
Yeah.
He would have schooled it.
He's a very underrated jockey, Robbie.
He's a brilliant jockey. He's a great jockey, and he's I
think
won
a lot
now
of the big
last
staying handicaps out there, isn't he?
Yeah, the last couple of seasons, he's really shown what he's worth now, and he's still got a couple of rides for Venetia again, where he used to ride for her, and he's had a few spins for
That's
her.
Interesting, yeah.
He's very good. He finished second in the national, didn't he?
Haydock
Second
trials
third,
and all
yeah.
that sort of stuff, and Warwick Classic chases. That's what you associate with him. Really good rider over fence and hills. Ian Williams, I mentioned for him, one of the best dual-purpose trainers of all.
I'm a big fan of Ian Williams. Yeah, he's a great dual-purpose trainer, probably along with your mate Gary
Moore, yeah.
They're the two that sort of stand out a little bit for me. Tremendous dual-purpose yards.
Alan King, yeah.
Ryan Ellison.
He is dual-purpose now. Alan King.
Yeah.
You know what? I tell you what. Really like Alan King. I'll tell you one thing.
Group 1 winner on Champions Day.
Yeah, but also. No, it's Group 2, that race.
Is it Group 2? Oh, the stairs.
Group 2, yeah, the stairs still Group 2.
Getting ahead of myself.
Everything from the yard gets held up. You ever noticed?
What, are the Kings?
From Kings. Just everything from the yard gets held up.
I can't remember who we had in the studio once had said that we were talking about riders' instructions, and he said Alan King would be one that wants you to be a very specific way of riding. When Chuck Thornton was riding, he was told to get the inside and about 4 or 5 off. Did you always know that the King horses will be in that position?
Yeah, but he's, again, where Alan King was moulded from, the Duke. The Duke was very the same as that. He was very precise in what he wanted the jockeys to do. Yeah.
Did you find, which, obviously everyone's different, but did most trainers try and give you instructions rather than say, this is, you've seen the horse, get out there and do your job?
That's it. The best ones are who put their trust in you and say, look, most of the times you've rode them before, and it's good to get a little bit of information, but when there's some trainers out there try and tie you down.
A bit too much.
And you know yourself, you can go out there and your plans can train from A, B, C, right down to Z. And it's, as a jockey, you're paid to do the job. So hopefully they've got enough confidence in you to go out there. If you need to change your mind, then do it. I went out there once and the trainer wanted me to bounce out, be handy. And in my head, I thought, there's no way I'm going to do this because it's not going to suit the horse. There's plenty of pace anyway. I sat last. And I dread to think what he was calling me the way around. But when I come back in, I was God because it had won.
Really?
So
there you are.
Yeah.
You need a plan B, don't you?
Plan B, C, D, especially around places like this at the festival. And
that's where natural, talent comes into it. You just need the feel, don't you, I guess?
And again, that's why it's,
decision.
As a jockey, I look back on some of the races that you ride, because the trainer has told you to do certain things. As a young jockey trying to make your way, you try and do them orders to the book. And you can get unstuck. And then you look back now and you think, if I'd have just known what I do now, it's easy to say after the event, some things you could have done different.
The young body, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Jack Tudor, of course, he rode behind his years, didn't he? So it just depends. Who's hot and who's not. Barry laughing in the background, I can hear that crack young jockey who's going to win the Gold Cups and everything. Grand National winner in the making, isn't he? Absolutely. Okay, Barry, Wild Romance for me is quite interesting. Just to go back to that point, they had the second to Does He Know, don't they? The Skeleton. So they got a line on him, Midnight River, who could have run in this race. I think she's quite interesting as well. Has there been any love in the final market glance?
Yeah, there certainly has. We backed her at 17.5. She's into 12 now, so 11 to 1 from 16. The favourite, just a little bit uneasy, was 2.44 the last time we did a market check. Out to 2.58 now, which is just nearly 13 to 8. Grand Mogul's relatively settled at around the 7 to 2 mark. I know you've bad word for that. The Grand Vizier, same at around the 8 to 1 mark. Polish, again, coming in for more support into 6. So, yeah, favourite just a little bit uneasy, and good money for Wild Romance at big prices, albeit.
Yeah, the Wild Romance one's interesting because yesterday the early prices were the first books to go up. She was third favourite.
Well, yeah, right. That's interesting, isn't it? Well, I guess they kind of have to do that with the Skeletons, don't they? But
do a little bit. I mean, she's come right out to she was out to 17 on the machine there, and there's been a bit of correction back the other way. I was surprised to see her as big as 17. Yeah. I think she does have a lot to find on form.
17.5, Dave.
Yeah. I quite like her because I don't like Mogul, Grand Mogul. This is a bit of an acid test for Grand Mogul. Loads of people will be with him because it's Henderson and De Boinville, of course. I don't really like Polish as an X-Flat. Also, don't really like Grand Vizier. So for me, Ballymillsy, Mattie Batch's pick, and Wild Romance will be the ones that might give him a bit to do. Interesting horse, this, Does He Know? He's obviously not been without his problems, Keith, because he had 2 runs in October 19. We didn't see him, did we? And then he comes back, and soft ground was something of an impasse for him, but I look back and some of his best form is on it. They're off and running then. The final race here on Racing Post Live. Good luck wherever you're playing, over the 2 mile 5. And straight to the front, the Dower staying, Grand Vizier. Does He Know? Just had a little look at that, as did Grand Mogul, just off the pace. Polish is up there as well. Ridden cold at the moment. Ballymillsy and Wild Romance.
Petrostar was never really mentioned. I thought might have been one who may have led, because this horse can be a bit of a tearaway over even shorter trips. So there's obviously a conscious decision there by Keelan Woods to hold this horse right up and try and settle him at the back.
I saw that as well, right at the back, so that experiment hasn't worked.
And the first as well.
They're pretty
strong out. I don't think the horse has responded well to it.
A nod to Mattie Batch's big win in this race. When he got out on Coney Gree, he only really had one way of running, didn't he, Coney Gree?
That's how the Bradstocks liked all their horses running.
Yeah.
Their way was get out of the way, get out of trouble. We know our horses jump. We do plenty of schooling.
They're fit.
They're fit.
Yeah. So Grand Vizier doing all this.
Is there a bit of that to the Grand Vizier's been ridden here? Get him out.
I like the tactics on this chap,
and just see how he goes.
And as well with this horse as well. You said he didn't jump as well before. They're getting him out in front, letting him see his hurdles.
Exactly. It's just there's nothing to bother him apart from the hurdles in front of him. And I tell you what, in a field of big jump spreads, he's not actually looking. He doesn't look like a small horse or anything, does he?
He doesn't.
Doesn't look like a flat horse.
Yeah, Ascot Stakes winner, of course, of 2019, wasn't it? Yes, it was. It was absolutely bog. Beat Build Me Up Buttercup, who's entered it.
Lovely jump there from the favourite.
So Does He Know? Enthusiastic hold, I think we can say. They're sort of ignoring this a little bit. Barry Orr, what prices have Grand Vizier gone? Because he's got about 7 lengths clear.
Yeah, Grand Vizier now trading at 5-1 in running on the Betfair Exchange. 13-8. Does he know? Steady at that. Grand Mogul the same as his off price at around the 7-2 mark. Polish in there at 13-2. It's still all to play for, obviously.
How's he
One in
settled?
front jumping particularly well, though, it has to be said.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, for a flat horse, I mean, listen, Ian Williams, absolute genius, and he is pinging them quite nicely. So, Matt, your point there about getting him in the rhythm. How has Grand Mogul settled, Matty Batch?
He looks a lot settled than he saw on the last day.
Okay, so like I say, I didn't detect a great deal of stable to confidence. You know what happens then, but he was quite easy to back. So just steadied it a little bit out in front there, Robbie Dunn, on the Grand Vizier. God, he's gone way clear now,
Yeah.
Keith Melrose.
To 11-4.
They need to watch a little bit, don't they? Because
He doesn't stop.
Well, he stays very well on the flat, and he obviously has a lot of ability.
Yeah.
So they've got to hope that they make up a bit of ground on the hill.
They want to be making a bit of ground up.
If
down
you're
the back
Dave
here.
Bass now on the second favourite who's keeping closest tabs on, you've got 10 lengths to find out on the far side. What are you thinking?
I'd be jumping this one, and I'd just be just getting a little bit closer to this horse. As you say, the form's there to be. He's
exactly.
no mug. You can't give him. They're closing up on him now a little bit.
Polish has settled a bit better. He's a horse that can be a little bit keen, and he's jumping all right for Paddy Brennan as well.
Quite a good situation in which to try and settle, because you've got something to chase here. They're not really hanging about to any great extent. So
yeah, Ballymilsey and Wild Romance still out the back, and Petra Star, having not elected to take on this one up front, has sort of spat at the dummy a little bit and is about 5 lengths detached. So we're coming up to the fourth last, I think.
So
guys.
they have closed up a little. They've probably got rid of maybe a third of the margin that was there.
Yeah.
But there's still, that's still 6 lengths.
Still big enough gap.
No, so Harry Skelton has now decided to just say, right, come on then, on Wild Romance, let's see how much we can close up. Ballymilsey, Matty Batch, he's still going okay.
Yeah, travelling well, creeping into it.
They are closing up a bit
this
now.
horse in front, he's still travelling well.
He's giving him a breather, you'd imagine. Well, he's
Yeah.
just having a little
Is
look
it
at the
uphill
hurdle.
bit?
Oh, he
Oh,
wasn't very
Barry,
clever there and he's
come
hit
on,
it.
mate.
Could that be the end of the front runner? We shall find out. Will he curl up or will he use all his experience with the flat and keep going? Don't forget, this is a horse that's won over 2 mile 4 at Ascot on the flat on soft. He'll stay every yard of this trip. Okay, we're getting hot now, guys. Keith Melrose, call the winner.
I think Bailey's will win from here. He's been very comfortable all the way through.
Yeah, not too low in the saddle yet. Grand Mogul perhaps just getting the hurry up now. Looks like Wild Romance is sitting slightly out of her ground, and Ballymilsey just getting the hurry up
Wild
as well.
Romance, I think, has been done. I think they've caught her out there, and she stopped to very little. Well, not
Yes.
stopped, but she has lost a little bit of ground there.
They're just injection of
Barry
pace.
Orr, we're coming to
Yeah,
the
got
third
her,
last.
didn't
What's the market saying?
Oh, that's a
Even's
good
the
jump.
favourite now.
Yeah, he jumped that so well. He jumped that very well.
Ballymills made a mistake.
Polish starting to get the hurry up. Grand Mogul, to his credit, is starting to fill his lungs again and find a little bit. I dare say he may well be the biggest step to the favourite now. The favourite's
wins.
on the inside. This is what he did
Grand
last time,
Vizier's
guys.
still
Coming to the second last, going to need to ping it. Grand Vizier over. They all
He
jump
jumped
it
so
pretty
well,
well.
he
Polish
jumped
is
really
coming
well.
under it.
Favourite
Oh, he's
wins.
on the bridle now, does he? No, he's going for it
favourite
on
got
the
blocked
inside.
there.
Will he come stand side? He did that. Look
got
at
plenty of time.
Here
He's got
comes
plenty
Nico
of
de
time
Boinville.
yet.
He's not going to let him have it. He's caught in the pocket now, does Dave
clever
Bass.
that from
Plenty of
Dunn.
time
He's
to
really
get
going to
out.
need
Here
to
he
fight.
goes.
Tons of time.
Here he
Plenty of
goes.
time, and he quickens very nice. He just
Quick as
about
up.
takes it up.
Comes
Grand Mogul
across.
has a good
Oh,
look. Grand
Dunn's at
Vizier
it
cuts
again.
him off. Polish, it's just one
we
more
go.
jump for the favourite backers. Hey! Up he goes and he
Yeah.
flies it.
Get
We're
on.
looking at a decent
Get
horse
on.
here, guys.
It's a good
Does
horse,
he
this.
know?
Look
I'll
at
tell you
Wild
what. Look at
Oh, look at
Wild
Wild
Romance
Romance.
running on here. This is
Again,
not over at
this is
all,
what she
is
did
it?
at Chepstow.
He's
This
going
is
to have
exactly
to
what
keep
she
him
did at
going.
Chepstow.
Barry Orr's called a blinder here. It's going to be a clear second place for Wild Romance. Does he know? Concedes the penalty. Stamps his authority for the Cheltenham Festival. We will be seeing some live anti-post quotes for that one. Polish back in third. Grand Vizier, an admirable run out in front. And a stable confidence was right about Grand Mogul. He found very little indeed. Keith Melrose.
It's a good horse, that winner, and it's a 3 mile chaser next year.
Yeah.
It's exactly the profile of the sort of horse that wins this race. Let's not mention the C word again. But
Coneygree. Coneygree.
but he's not. I'm not saying Gold Cups or anything, but
I
he's
was going to say
exactly
creepy or cool Hanley.
Yeah.
No, Coneygree beat Creepy.
What was that? Martin Keithley had the winner of this.
course he
Court Master or something. He had the winner of this.
Cool Hanley. Champion Court won it a
Champion
couple
Court,
of years
yeah.
ago.
That's the C word. That was the two
Fingal
C
Bay,
words.
Parlour Games, Shantou
He's-
Village on the blind side, and Time Hill last year. Will he go up in trip with his horse, Matty Batch?
Of course he will.
Oh, you're looking at Albert Bartlett horse, you think?
I think so.
He's not short on gears, though, is he? The way he got... let us know what you think.
I think
He's
he's
still
just.
got time for a
I
few
think
socials.
he's just good.
He's
I
good.
think he's just good. He travels well
He's
because
good.
he's good.
If
got
you remember
stuck
when he
in
won
a
at the
pocket.
October meeting, he sort of came right on the outside,
he
caught
did.
Harry
Looked
Skelton
very
at it,
green to me.
and he
Now,
came
the
stand side.
interesting sort of what do you do with Wild Romance? Because she did exactly the same at Chepstow. She got caught out for pace and then finished very strongly.
Yeah.
I think the fact she got sent off at 13-2 in that race at Chepstow Not sure she shows an awful lot at home, having fared. I'm just
He's
guessing.
having a good time of things, Kim Bailey, isn't he?
But
Barry
what's
Orr,
he
what do they
doing?
do with Wild
What's he
Romance?
do with it?
You called that at a big price. She's run a blinder.
Yeah, she has. She's run a sledger. You wouldn't take a free bet when they just quickened up, turning down the hill.
no.
She wasn't able to go with them. She stayed on past tired horses, I suppose, at the finish. Interesting, she hit a low of 208, which is unbelievable to me for 71 quid. I never thought she was that price. I thought the winner was always going to hold her up the hill, but even allowing for the £7. But yeah, the winner's been impressive. I'm just waiting for a quote to come in here. He's 33 from 50 for the Albert Bartlett and 33 first show for the Ballymore on the Betfair Sportsbook.
Tell you what, 33 for the Albert Bartlett's a big price, I think.
Yeah.
That is big, isn't it? Now,
It'll
the
go off
first thing
12
that
or
makes me
something,
think about this, if you think about Vindication, when he looked like a proper novice hurdler as well, he was very reluctant to commit him to the Cheltenham Festival, wasn't it? I think Kim tries and talks his owners out of it sometimes.
Well, you mentioned before they set off about how he missed a lot of time before he came back.
He's a second season novice, isn't he?
And yeah, that's sort of Kim Bailey's style, really, isn't it? If he's got reason to, because he's run obviously in November the 14th.
Let's not bottom the
run.
these
Well, exactly.
novices.
You might have found that horse was ready to run in March, and Bailey's just gone actually not. Well, March this year obviously doesn't matter, but you know he'd have just gone no. Let's save the novice status for next year, chaps. You know Bailey's that type of trainer, isn't he? He's very patient.
I tell you what I liked about that. We could just see in the corner of our eyes he was getting interviewed there, Dave Bassett. You know, as they walk around with the mic in their face. How did you feel about that? By the way, when someone came up to you, you know, was it always? Were you one of those guys that thought I want to get to connections first, or were you just let's just think on the spot and talk? Because he looked like he really sat on something very decent there.
Yeah, I know Chuck Thornton, he never used to talk to him because he always
Wave them away.
Wave them away. He wanted to go to the owners and the trainers first. Listen, when it's at Cheltenham, I mean, I love to talk.
It's easy, really.
Yeah,
it's easy when he's had a winner.
It's
isn't
easy
it,
when you've had a winner. It's what they're doing now is when you've come back and the horses run bad. I think you need time to sort of digress what's happened. When it's a winner, it's all right. Now this horse could come back for the December meeting and step up to 3 Mile to see how he handles that. Exactly, that's what Coney Gree done. And then normally, if they're going to go to Cheltenham, that's you sort of December. That's you don't
Would
really.
you go to the Challow maybe at Newbury? Would you think about that now? The grade, get the
Could
grade
do,
one?
but some trainers don't really. January's the latest you want to be running your Cheltenham horses.
And he might not want the deep ground. That's something else
Yeah.
that he's not done yet.
That's
I mean
true enough,
he's got stuck in a pocket. But
That
to
was
me,
impressive.
Dave Bass never looked worried. He knew.
You called it,
He
Batch,
rode
yeah.
that horse.
Yeah, he knew.
He
didn't
knew what he had underneath him. The gaps appeared, and he said, "Come on, let's go." And
He didn't even panic when Dunn shut the door on him, did he?
No, there was no panic there whatsoever.
And Nico came up on the outside, still
Yeah.
having not because you would panic.
And then
wouldn't
Dunn
you? I would
did for
panic.
him, and then
Yeah.
And it was pretty good up the hill. And of course, we know that he acts around Cheltenham. Now, I would probably hear a lot of people saying, "Well, what was the last winner to go and follow up at the Cheltenham Festival?" Well, some have gone very close indeed, haven't they? Obviously, Time Hill went off. Did he go off Fav for the
he
Albert
did,
Bartlett?
or at least join.
Yeah, and he ran a blinder actually. So this perhaps, if
Well,
you're looking at
two of them-
historically,
Two of the last 5 winners or so, 6 have got one to Challow next.
yeah. So
But-
look, at the moment, Barry, it's around about 20s the book, isn't it, for the Albert Bartlett? So 33s, but because I was
it's
at one
wide
point.
open.
Yeah, okay. We'd appreciate it, of course, the Mullins horse. We just don't know where these horses are going to go as the season develops. But he looks like a player to me. You will find out, of course, about this in your members section. You will get all of the quotes coming to you before anywhere in the Racing Post members section. Don't forget that offer we had as well. Your first 50 months we'll give you for 50 months first. I can hear them all in my ear going, it's 3 months, Dave. The first, it's been a long day. The first 3 months, of course, 50% off. And I'll get that quote up for you as well, exactly what you need to do. I've got my chat here somewhere. They mentioned it to me earlier. Race 50, they're saying in my ears. Race 50 for the first 3 months. Don't get too excited out there now. We don't give it away. But it is fantastic stuff and you get all your quotes. They're so important, these quotes, aren't they? Especially if you're an anti-post player.
Yeah, for anti-post punters, it's definitely, and you get to know whose quotes are worth more a lot as
Very
well.
Well put.
Yeah, some will be very clear, some will be a lot more woolly, and you know who sort of tends to hold themselves to that word. And
He's
and
quite
know.
giving, Kim Bailey, as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's quite forthcoming with a lot of stuff. I mean, the thing with having dealt with him a couple of times more as sort of a journalistic role, if he wants to tell you something, he'll tell you, and if he doesn't, he'll give you a courteous answer that you know he's not giving away any more than he wants to. That's
That's like most of them, though, isn't it?
that is most of them. Yeah.
There we are. So that was the final race, Batch.
Final race, job done.
Whoever thought when you were riding Coney Gree in this race, you'd be sitting here with me and Keith Melrose and Barry Orr doing the shout. But you've had a great time. You've been a great guest. We've loved the stories. We'll definitely have you back.
Thank you. Yeah, look forward to it.
Yeah, hot footing it down to Brighton now. Back to Brighton.
Yeah, to get the train back.
Yeah, what's on in the next week? You have been on tracks, of course, haven't you? Of course, with your riding, but you do take some. You drive boxes for people. You do all sorts, don't you?
Yeah.
Go to the sales.
Go to the sales. Take a few horses racing. I've got a couple of rides at maybe Beloved Plumpton on Monday. So yeah, hopefully they're running okay.
Superb. We'll look
Missing my
out for you, Batch.
football at the weekends, playing and watching. So
Do you play a bit? Do you?
I do play a bit. Yeah.
To keep your eye on. Really?
Yeah, I play for 3 different teams.
What position?
Right back or right midfield.
I can see you going down the wing a little.
So if I play for the vets, because it's over 37s, I'll run down the wing. But when I play for the youngers, it's right back and do a job.
It'd be a nightmare to mark, wouldn't it? If he
I'm
was on the
horrible,
wing,
I'm
it'd be
horrible.
absolutely.
Well,
You'd be like,
really-
what's he doing here on a
But you know
Sunday
what?
morning?
Fist full
I
of
tell you
shirt
what.
and all sorts.
Do you know what? For a small fella, I'm like a salmon.
Is it?
I can jump. Don't you worry about
To be
it.
fair,
that
mate,
like
I wouldn't-
Coney Green?
I wouldn't mind you marking me at a corner, to be honest.
No.
I'm 6'4".
Oh, yeah, there'd be a little bit.
There would be hand fistfuls of shirt and all sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Batch, we loved having you. Thank you very much. What a debut that was. All the riding hints and absolutely fantastic to hear that. That cross country was fantastic. Let us know your highlights. You can still get your questions in. Don't forget to like and subscribe to if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook Live as well. My thanks to Keith Melrose. You'll be back tomorrow for the biggie.
Oh, the biggie. It's an absolutely fantastic day tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
Have you got one? Don't give us it yet. We've got one, or are we approaching it with a couple?
Well, I'm actually going to end up back in 3 in the big one.
Watching
But,
the weather.
Yeah, the weather's going to be, the rain's mostly going to come at the tail end of the meeting. Sunday's the day it's going to be really testing. I think you're looking at maybe, it's going to be no worse than soft tomorrow by the look of things, unless they get more rain than forecast. So, bet with that in mind. You're not looking at slop tomorrow. You're looking at typical ground for the time of year in Cheltenham, really.
Yeah, so the Paddy Power Gold Cup tomorrow is the feature race for us here on RP Live. We will be back. We'll be back on Sunday as well. As will Barry Orr. Saturday off to be doing a bit of footy tomorrow, Barry, will you? And then coming racing back to join us for the Greatwood Day.
Yeah, looking forward to the Greatwood. And are we going to cover the Morgiana as well on Sunday?
We certainly
See the
are.
Champion Hurl winner potentially?
We most certainly
Forward to
are.
that.
Will it be Abacadabras or will it be Saint Ra?
Saint Ra.
Saint Ra, absolutely, the county hurdle winner. Thank you, Barry. Fantastic stuff as ever. So from me,
Thanks,
Dave
guys.
Orton, we're just going to sign off now on Racing Post Live. Don't forget, you can keep your comments coming in, your socials overnight. We will give you a readout tomorrow. Let's hope you've enjoyed the show. Plenty coming your way. #RP Live. Get on Twitter. Check out the social comments. Got a feeling there might be some fun ones. See you tomorrow.